7 billion humans walk the earth today. We build cities that pierce the clouds. We split atoms and decode life itself. We send machines to distant worlds. But this wasn't always our story. 200,000 years ago, we were nothing special. Just another species of ape struggling to survive. We weren't the strongest. We weren't the fastest. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. So what happened? How did we rise above every other species that ever lived? If you're using these to fall asleep, that's literally why I make them. So subscribe maybe. And tell me, where are you and what time? I check comments and it's like Berlin at breakfast, Boston at bedtime, all at once. This is the story of that rise. The story of what made Homo Sapiens different. What made us survive when everyone else disappeared? It almost didn't happen. There were moments, real moments in time, where our entire species hung by a thread. A few hundred individuals. That's all that stood between us and extinction. Here is the story of the extraordinary rise of our species, the Homo Sapiens. How does this story begin? Where did we come from? Remember, 8 million years ago, the planet suddenly cools. Water locks into the poles. An enormous ice cap forms over Europe and Asia. In the north, life has to acclimatize to the cold. In the tropics, life desperately struggles to survive the drought. In Africa, the great apes see their forests disappear. 2 of them, Orrorin and Tumai, adapt to the savanna. They invent a new way to get around. They stand up. Think about this moment. Every other ape walks on all fours, knuckles dragging through the grass. These 2 decide to stand upright. Why would they do something so risky? In the open savanna, standing up means seeing farther, spotting predators before they get close, finding food across the grassland. Your hands are free to carry things, to gesture, to communicate. But standing up makes you slower. You're a bigger target, more visible to everything that wants to eat you. It's a gamble with survival. 4 million years pass. Orrorin and Tumai disappear. They give birth to a new, better adapted species, Australopithecus. Lucy and her fellow creatures continue to walk upright. They refine the skill with each generation. They survive by eating hardy plants, tough roots that require strong jaws to chew, seeds, whatever they can find. But eventually they die out too. They're no match for their predators. Lions hunt them in the grass. Leopards drop from trees above. They're prey, not predators. Next, Homo habilis arrives on the scene. 2.5 million years ago. This skillful man is the first true representative of the human genus. He invents tools, simple rocks chipped to make sharp edges. Those rocks change everything. Now he can cut meat from carcasses, crack bones to reach the rich marrow inside, defend himself against smaller predators. His diet improves. More protein, more fat, more nutrition. His brain starts growing. Not much at first, but enough to matter. Enough to think a little further ahead, to plan, to remember. Habilis starts to explore. He travels beyond the territories of his ancestors. He discovers new lands, new foods, new ways to survive. His evolution changes him into Homo erectus, the standing man, the discoverer of fire. Imagine being the first to control fire, to hold it in your hands, to make darkness disappear, to cook food and transform its value, to frighten away the predators that used to hunt you. Fire is power, real power. For the first time in history, humans aren't just reacting to nature, they're controlling small pieces of it, bending it to their will. Erectus is confident now. He leaves Africa. Groups of them, small bands of 20 or 30 people, start walking north, into Asia, into Europe. They don't know where they're going. They're following the herds, following the seasons, following instinct. For the first time, humans are spreading across the planet. This is 1 million years ago. Erectus is everywhere. In the jungles of Southeast Asia, on the plains of Europe, in the mountains of the Middle East, and in different places dealing with different climates, different challenges, he starts evolving, changing, adapting to wherever he settles. But Erectus isn't us yet, not even close. His brain is bigger than habilis, but it's still limited. He's got fire, he's got simple tools, but he can't really plan ahead. He lives day to day, moment to moment. When someone in his group dies, he's confused. Sad, maybe, but confused. Erectus doesn't know anything about the mystery of death. Where has the breath gone? Why doesn't the body move anymore? Meanwhile, the threat of danger lurks behind them, always behind them, always close, walk or die. It's the law. The body's left to the animals. They'll remember the person for a while. Then the memory fades, gone like breath. Imagine 400,000 years ago. We're in the heart of the African continent. Homo erectus sometimes walks up to 50 kilometers a day to survive. He has to keep moving. He chases small animals when he can catch them, picks berries and digs roots for himself and his people. Sometimes he dies along the way. At best he lives to about 25 or 30 years. They feel the loss deeply when someone falls, but it confuses them. Death is a mystery they can't solve. When Erectus settles down for the night, first he makes a shelter to protect himself from wind and rain. Then he builds a fire to keep predators away. The flames dance, the shadows retreat. He's able to make all sorts of tools now. Scrapers for hides, axes for cutting, spears with sharpened points. But this is of little use to the woman carrying a child. She's been eating nothing but roots for days now. Bitter, tough roots that do nothing for her hunger. She needs protein. She needs meat. She doesn't want any more roots. The Erectus chief is well aware that he hasn't succeeded in finding game. He knows that roots are bitter and don't satisfy hunger. He knows the woman needs more. He doesn't need to be reminded. Erectus is curious, always eager to discover new things. He experiments with sounds, with tools, with fire. Today the chief finds something interesting, a hollow log. He strikes it. The sound echoes across the valley. He takes pleasure in the resonant sound. He strikes it again and again. Suddenly it doesn't resonate. Nothing. He moves his hand. There. It's much better with his ear pressed to the opening. The sound vibrates through his skull. The chief stores this discovery away. Everything might be useful someday. Homo erectus is a hunter. At dawn, the chief and his brother follow fresh tracks in the soft earth. Large tracks, 3 toes pointing forward, she who walks on 2 legs. They know she's a fast runner, faster than any human, so they hatch a plan. One attracts her attention with movements and sounds. The other lays in wait, hidden in the tall grass, ready to attack. The chief knows all about she who walks on 2 legs. She's giant bird, tall as 2 men. She's obsessive about her eggs, checking them constantly, counting them, protecting them. If one were to go missing, she would throw a fit. She would search. She would rage. The chief picks up an egg, warm and heavy in his hands. The chase is on. Everything's going according to plan. The bird sees him. She charges. Her legs are powerful, built for speed. Her claws can slice through flesh like stone knives. The The chief runs, not too fast, just fast enough to keep her chasing. He leads her toward his brother. What's his brother doing? He's supposed to be ready. He's supposed to be waiting with his spear. But his brother is distracted, looking at something in the grass. Termites, maybe. The irresistible yellow ones. If she catches him, she'll kill him. Her legs cut like flint. Her beak is like a spear tip, sharp and deadly. The brother always manages to mess everything up. He can't be trusted. He's too easily distracted, too curious about small things when big dangers approach. But luck is with them today. The bird runs past the brother's hiding spot. He strikes. His spear finds flesh. Not a killing blow, but enough to slow her down. The chief turns. Now they have her between them. 2 spears, 2 hunters, 1 wounded bird. The animal can't escape. All is well. It's a good day for erectus. They start by eating the stomach, full of freshly eaten plants and insects. Then they cut up the animal to transport it back to camp. The meat will feed everyone for days. Images of the capture fill the chief's head. The chase, the strike, the victory. It was a good plan. It worked. There's an idea forming. A new idea. What if they could make the animals fall into holes? Dig traps where the animals walk. But flies distract him. They swarm around the meat, around his sweating body. The idea fades before it fully forms. Erectus's body is less and less hairy with each generation. Insects constantly attack his naked skin, especially the sensitive parts. The flies bite, the mosquitoes drink. It's maddening, but the brothers' privates are protected, covered. It's the animal's skin from their last kill. He tied it around his waist. With the protective skin, the flies don't bite there. They land on his arms, his legs, his face, but not where the skin covers. Perhaps this is how Erectus invented clothing, not for warmth, for protection from insects. Hierarchy determines the sharing of meat back at camp. The hunters are served first. They risk their lives. They earn the best pieces. Then, the preferred females, for whom choice pieces are reserved. The women who gather, who make tools, who keep the fire burning. The woman carrying the child now has meat. Finally. She tears into it hungrily, blood on her chin, fat on her fingers, life-sustaining food. Erectus is flushed with pride at having done his duty as chief and protector. He provided. He kept his people alive another day. When in power, you learn to watch your back, because there's always someone ready to take your place, someone younger, stronger, hungrier for status. The skin. He forgot his skin, the one he used to cover himself. It's his skin, it's his place, and he's the chief. Some things aren't shared, like the woman carrying the child, like suffering, like hope. The chief's head is brimming with images that night. He can't stop thinking. The hole, the trap idea. What if he dug one where the animals drink, where they walk every day? Maybe they could fall in, like the bird almost did when it stumbled during the chase. The next day he decides to try it. He starts digging near the watering hole. His brother helps. They dig deep, deeper than a man is tall. Digging in the mud changes their appearance. Mud cakes their skin, their hair. Surprised, the chief doesn't recognize his brother. His brother doesn't recognize him. They look at each other. Strange, different, funny. They may well have just invented laughter. The first laughs of humanity. The sound bubbles up from their chests, uncontrollable, joyful. But also the discovery of beauty, thanks to an important find, a stone different from the others. The chief picks it up from the mud. The stone catches the light. red and smooth, pretty. He finds it pretty, so the stone becomes something else. Not a tool, not food, a treasure, something that's a joy to behold. What's it like on him? He hangs it around his neck. Isn't he handsome? Different from the others? Handsome and different. It's his stone now. It's his sign. The sign of the chief. The mark of status. The chief wants the one carrying the child to look at the stone, to see how handsome he is, to admire him. But now's not the time. She's got searing pains in her stomach, sharp, constant. The child is coming. The woman wants to be alone when the child comes from her, away from the others, away from watching eyes. She knows instinctively what she has to do. She's done this before. 2 other children, both born without breath, both left on the trail. The chief is full of hope despite the history, the trap they dug, the skin that protects, the stone that makes him beautiful. Now, the child. Will it come? Will it live? 1 time out of 2 it's born without breath. Like those who fall on the trail, like those who simply stop moving. Sometimes the pain kills the woman as well. Will a new life begin? Or will death visit again? The woman screams, she pushes, she bleeds. It's alive, crying, breathing, moving. It's a little girl. She has a funny head, a straight forehead, not sloped back like the chief's. Less hair on her skin, lighter bones. She looks so fragile and vulnerable. The chief doesn't want the cold to take her breath away. The night air is cool. The fire is far from where the woman gave birth. He knows now that his skin is no longer for him. His skin is for the child, to keep her warm, to keep her breath inside. He wraps her carefully. Her tiny fingers grip his thumb. Strong grip. Good sign. Without knowing it, they've just given birth to a new species of man. A species that will soon replace them. Homo erectus senses he's done his time. He's holding the future in his arms. A future he can't imagine. A future that will inherit everything he's learned. Homo erectus will disappear. He'll have lived more than 1,000,000 years, a successful run by any measure. But now, Homo sapiens arrives. This new child, this new species, we will change the life of man. We will conquer the world. The evolution of erectus into sapiens happens over hundreds of generations. Little by little, the body becomes more slender. The forehead smooths. The skull changes shape to accommodate a bigger, more complex brain. This isn't sudden. This isn't overnight. This is slow transformation across thousands of years. Each generation slightly different from the last. Each child carrying small changes in their bones, their features, their minds. Sapiens leaves Africa. He explores the Middle East first, then beyond. He starts to wear clothing, not just for protection from insects, but for warmth, for decoration, for identity. He develops a sense of aesthetics. Beauty matters to him in ways it never mattered to Erectus. He carves patterns into bone. He strings beads. He paints his body. He makes better tools, sharper, more specialized. Tools for specific tasks, not just general cutting and scraping. His thoughts and imagination will turn him into a new kind of man. A man who can think about things that don't exist yet. A man who can plan seasons ahead. A man who dreams. We're at minus 100,000 years. Electrical storms are the worst. They kill every time someone gets caught in the open. Where does this blinding light come from? What power splits the sky? Who spits this anger that rattles our skulls and stops our hearts? One of us will find an answer to the great mystery of death, an answer that will change everything. He's called Naka, the youth. Ever since he learned how to hunt, Necker has protected his mother and little sister. His father died 2 seasons ago, taken by fever. Now Necker is the man of his small family. The clan has walked since daybreak, 22 people moving across the savannah, following the herds north, following the rains. The wind comes up suddenly. Dark clouds roll across the sky. The sky begins to spit fire. Lightning cracks. Thunder shakes the ground. The chief looks for refuge but finds nothing. No caves, no overhangs, just open grassland. We huddle together, waiting for nature's fury to pass. The children cry. The adults watch the sky with fear. Naoki, Necker's sister, gets scared and takes off, running. She doesn't know where, just away from the terrible noise and light. Her mother follows to protect her, chasing, calling her name. That's when tragedy strikes Necker's life. The lightning comes down, bright as 1,000 suns. The sound arrives a moment later, deafening. The ground trembles. When Necker's vision clears, he sees something impossible. A horned beast appears where the lightning struck. Huge, confused, burned. It staggers. It falls. Necker runs toward the lightning strike. His heart pounds. His legs barely carry him. The bodies of his sister and mother lie on the ground, motionless. Their skin is burned. Their eyes are closed. Necker had been unable to protect them. He feels responsible. They have to move. They have to get up. They have to keep walking with the clan. But they don't move. The chief quickly understands that the breath has left them. He's seen this before. Many times. Death is common. Death is everywhere. But Necker doesn't want to believe it. He refuses to listen. He refuses to see what everyone else sees clearly. They're dead. Nothing can be done. The chief wants to leave as soon as possible. The storm is passing, but more might come. They need to find shelter before dark, but Necker wants to stay. He wants to wait until they wake up. Because they have to wake up. They're just sleeping, just resting. The chief doesn't understand Necker's refusal to accept reality, but he can't abandon Necker. The youth is a good hunter. The clan needs him. So we stop there. At the beginning, it's just for one night, just until Necker accepts what happened. Sapiens is nomadic, always moving. But now he makes shelters with animal skins, more permanent structures, places he can return to season after season. His language is more sophisticated than Erectus ever achieved. He's got words to talk about abstract concepts, time behind, time ahead, things that might happen, things that could have happened differently. His brain has more memory, more capacity for associations, for connecting ideas that seem unrelated, for creativity. His imagination is more active. His dreams are more vivid, more complex, more meaningful to him. In his sleep, Sapiens believes he travels into another world, a parallel world situated just behind his eyes, a world where anything is possible. The clan is still sleeping when a horned beast comes to drink at the river, the same kind that appeared with the lightning. The body of an animal this size means meat for everyone, food for weeks. Without a doubt, for Necker, this is the same horned beast, the one who came the day before with the great light, the one who took his mother and sister. The chief prepares carefully. This is a dangerous animal, heavy, fast. Those horns can gore a man easily. He needs a perfect throw. This time the chief isn't clumsy. His spear flies true. It sinks deep into the beast's side, between the ribs, into the lungs. The wound will kill her, slowly, but certainly. The chief is proud. Thanks to him, the clan will have food for weeks. He's proven his worth as leader once again. But Neka has other things on his mind. In the dying breath of the animal, he hears something. His sister's voice, groaning. At the same moment the beast dies, the inexplicable happens. As the breath of the animal disappears into the air, his sister's breath returns to her body. How is this possible? Neka doesn't understand. Nobody understands. Naoki breathes. Her chest rises and falls. Her eyes open. She looks around, confused. She's alive. She was dead. Now she's alive. That's how Naoki comes back to us. We are joyful, amazed, confused. But Neka is preoccupied. He wants to understand what happened. Did the animal give its breath to his sister? Did the death of the animal allow Naoki to live? It's a mystery, a big mystery. But maybe there's a pattern here. Maybe death isn't final. Maybe breath can move from one body to another. The chief expects thanks for his catch, for the meat he's provided. But instead the clan is taken up with Neka and the miracle, with the girl who died and came back. Neka finds new hope. If the animal's breath brought his sister back, maybe it can do the same for his mother. Maybe the animal's skin holds a bit of breath. Maybe wrapping his mother in it will revive her. At the beginning, everyone says Neka has lost his mind. He's obsessed with the idea that the horned beast can give life back to his mother. We hope that Neka's mother will come back too. We want to believe. We want miracles to be real. However, we don't understand his behavior. He doesn't eat. He stays by the body, waiting for a sign, talking to her, covering her with the animal's skin, waiting. Days pass. The body begins to change, to smell, to attract flies. The sign comes from above. Vultures. They circle overhead, black wings against blue sky. They come to take the body. Neka refuses. If the vultures take his mother's flesh, no breath can ever return. The body must stay whole, complete. He drives them away with stones, with shouts, with fire. It's perhaps on that day that Homo Sapiens invents the first burial. Not just leaving the body, not just walking away, but protecting it, hiding it, keeping it safe from scavengers. Neka digs a hole. He places his mother inside. He covers her with earth and stones. It protects the body. But more importantly, it keeps the decomposing flesh out of sight, out of smell, away from the living. Even without vultures, the body disappears little by little under the earth. Neka visits the spot every day. He talks to the stones. He leaves food there. The chief wants Neka to eat. The youth is growing weak. He offers him a choice piece of meat, the best cut from the horned beast, something he never does for anyone except himself. What he wants is for Neka to give him the secret of his magic. He wants to understand how Neka brought Naoki back to life, how he controlled death. But he's in for another surprise. Neka tells him that his mother lives in another world now, a world behind his eyes, a world he visits when he sleeps. She's there, she's alive there, and she needs to eat. The chief thinks he's delirious, but the youth takes the meat and places it on the stones, on his mother's burial place. That's too much. She doesn't need food anymore. She's dead. The meat is wasted. But a few of us begin to believe in this world, the world we go to when we sleep, where we can meet the dead, where life continues after breath leaves. It's the land of dreams, the land of spirits, the other side. A few days later, 3 clan members decide to leave. There are too many of us now. Resources are stretched thin. Fights break out all the time over food, over territory, over women. They want to find another clan, another chief, another place. They can't put up with the chief anymore, his rules, his demands, his share of the meat. Before leaving, they want to hear about the images Necker sees behind his eyes one more time. The extraordinary account of what happens after death. They want to hear it, to remember it, to take it with them to their new clan. Necker tells them. He can see the other world, the one where the dead go when their breath leaves them. He sees his mother there. She's with the horned beast. The spirits live together in that place. His mother looks at him, not with words but with feeling. She tells him without speaking that all is well. She's no longer hungry or cold. She doesn't suffer. She doesn't fear. She simply exists in that other place. There's a glow behind his eyes when he tells this story, a certainty, a faith. Life continues elsewhere. Life after death, and that changes everything. These beliefs are probably the beginnings of religious thought among sapiens, an extraordinary flight of imagination that will endow our species with a phenomenal power, faith. The idea of eternity spreads to all people. It appeases the anguish of death, makes it bearable, gives meaning to suffering. Now man can imagine a life beyond the limits of his own existence, beyond the moment, beyond the body. The time of shamanistic beliefs has arrived. The spirit world as a place alongside the world of the living. Death as a doorway, not an ending. We're between -100,000 and -50,000 years. Sapiens explores almost all the territories on the planet. Some groups head towards Asia, following coastlines and rivers. Others push towards Europe, crossing mountains and deserts. Why do they risk their lives in unknown worlds? Do they follow game migrations, signs from nature, dreams and visions? Many believe in the power of the sun and the moon, these lights that control day and night, these forces that govern the seasons. 50,000 years ago, the first group of Homo sapiens arrives in southern Europe. This clan worships the sun above all else. The sun gives warmth. The sun makes plants grow. The sun is life itself. Understandably, its disappearance in the middle of the day terrifies them. When the moon covers the sun, when darkness falls in daytime, they think the world is ending. A woman enters a trance to fight against the devourers of light. She chants, she dances, she calls to the sun to return. It's coming back. The light returns. The sun emerges from behind the moon. The woman who guides them is a shaman. Her name is Nata. She's the eldest of 3 sisters, the spiritual leader of her clan. For Nata, the darkened sun is a bad sign, a warning. The suns must be strong for the clan to survive. They must follow the sun to its source. They will follow it behind the mountains, to the land where all the suns are born, where the light lives. They should give up when faced with the immensity of the Alps. These mountains are higher than anything they've ever seen. Snow covers the peaks. The air is thin. Nevertheless, their faith carries them forward. They don't hesitate to undertake the most perilous trip of their lives. Sapiens encounters white earth for the first time. None of them have seen snow before. It's cold under their feet, burning cold. Their toes ache. Their feet go numb. It acts like a skin, taking on the shape of whatever touches it. Footprints remain behind them, a trail marking their journey. To protect themselves from the cold, Sapiens invents the shoe, wrapping their feet in layers of hide, stuffing grass inside for warmth, binding it tight with sinew. Nothing stops the shaman's determination. Nata leads them higher, always higher. The air grows thin, breathing becomes difficult, their skin starts to tingle, their extremities begin to freeze. Fingers turn white, ears burn with cold, noses go numb. They'd like to go back down, back to warmth, back to the world they understand. But no one dares defy Nata. The shaman decides for the clan. Her word is law. Matriarchy is widespread among early sapiens. Women have the authority in many clans. They're responsible for the future, for the children, for the continuation of the bloodline. The men follow. They hunt. They protect. They provide. But the women lead. The mute, one of the hunters, has just lost his ear. The tip of it, frozen solid. It breaks off like a piece of ice, brittle. There's no blood, no pain, just a strange absence. His hand touches the side of his head. The ear is gone. What's to be done with this frozen ear? How will they reattach it? Can they reattach it? The mute awaits the shaman's advice. He holds the piece of his ear in his palm, looking at it, wondering. Nata examines it. She shakes her head. Nothing can be done. The flesh is dead, frozen beyond saving, except maybe eat it. The body needs fuel. Food is scarce up here. Nothing grows, nothing lives. No, the mute prefers to eat it himself. After all, it's his ear, his flesh, his choice. He chews it slowly. Strange texture, no taste, like eating leather. A new sun rises this morning, but its first rays bring neither warmth nor nourishment. The light is weak, distant, cold. Over thousands of years, as Sapiens heads towards the cold lands of the north, skin colour begins to lighten. This isn't choice. This is survival. This is adaptation. Lighter skin absorbs the sun's ultraviolet rays better in regions where sunlight is weak. It promotes the synthesis of essential vitamins. Vitamin D. Without it, bones weaken. Children develop rickets. Adults suffer. They've adapted to weaker exposure to the sun at lower altitudes, but not to this, not to the thin air of the mountains, not to the brutal cold and endless snow. While she sleeps, Nata's elder sister leaves for the other world. Her cold body becomes hard like wood, frozen solid. Her breath simply stops during the night. Sapiens' beliefs are as numerous as nature's mysteries. Each clan develops its own understanding of death, of spirits, of the afterlife. For this clan, there is no burial site in the mountains. They can't dig in frozen ground. They can't carry the body. They offer dead bodies to the light. The sun in turn consumes them, takes them, brings them to the land of the other life. Nata accompanies the dead with songs and prayers, helping them find their way to the sun's dwelling place. One day she'll find her sister in the world of light. They'll be together again. They continue to plod forward. 1 foot, then another, then another. They've eaten nothing but snow for the last 3 days. Snow melts in their mouths, gives water. But water isn't food. Nata promised them that at the end of the trail night doesn't exist. The sun never sets. Light eternal. This gives them courage. But courage doesn't nourish the weakest ones. The children suffer most. The old suffer, the sick grow sicker. Not every sapiens is entitled to a ceremony. When someone falls and can't get up, they're left behind. No songs, no prayers, just necessity. The clan can't stop, can't wait, walk or die. The ancient law remains. Nata knows the pain her younger sister feels. Losing family, losing companions. She feels the suffering of her clan. Each death weighs on her, but they can't stop. They must reach the land of endless light, the sun's home. Her visions demand it. How did any of them survive? Was it their thick animal skin clothes, multiple layers wrapped tight, or the animal fat they rubbed into their exposed skin for protection? The conquest of virgin lands commands a high price. Sapiens leaves many of its own along the way. Frozen bodies mark their path, but every territory they explore will benefit future generations. Every route they discover opens possibilities. Every adaptation they develop spreads through the species. Now, they number fewer than the fingers of one hand. Started with 20, now 5 remain. The shaman, her sister, 3 hunters. As their last bit of strength drains from them, as hope fades like warmth from their bodies, something changes. Hope is rekindled. 3 shapes covered in snow, there, ahead. Mounds in the white landscape. They are animals, surely. Animals buried in snow. Food to sustain them. Food to complete their voyage. They're saved. They've found what they need. They approach slowly, carefully. Weapons ready in case the animals aren't dead, in case they're sleeping. Rocks. Just rocks. Many rocks piled together. What are these rocks doing here? Why are they arranged this way? Deliberately placed, shaped into mounds. A bird wing sticks out from one pile, but it doesn't have any flesh, just bones and feathers. Ancient, preserved by cold. Other men have been here. Other humans walked this high path. But who are they? Where do they come from? Why are these bodies imprisoned beneath rocks, protected from scavengers, honoured with burial? Nata examines the skulls visible between the stones. They don't look like her skull. Heavier, thicker. The brow ridges prominent, the face pushed forward. Nata is lost. The land of eternal sun is not here. There's nothing to eat. No animals, no plants, just snow and rock and cold. They're condemned. In this hell, no one can survive. No one except maybe an exceptional being. A being adapted to this place, born for this cold. In this cold and hostile Europe, another species of human is perfectly adapted to the environment. Has lived here for thousands of generations. The Neanderthal. Nata and her companions open the tombs of their ancestors, not meaning disrespect, just desperate, starving, dying. Neanderthal is also a descendant of Homo erectus. His ancestor arrived in Europe 2 million years ago, long before Sapiens left Africa. Of all the human species, Neanderthal is the most robust, the hardiest, the strongest, built for cold, built for hunting massive prey. The Neanderthal chief watches from a distance. He saw the strangers approaching his ancestors' burial site. Thin creatures, strange faces, moving slowly, weakly. He decides to bring the strangers to his camp. They're dying, and Neanderthals, despite their fierce reputation, have compassion. They care for their sick. They protect their weak. When Nata opens, her eyes, she doesn't know if she's still in the world of the living or if she's crossed over to the spirit realm. What are these beings who aren't exactly like her? Human, yes, but different. So different. Neanderthal made numerous discoveries without ever having made contact with sapiens, developed complex culture in isolation, found their own answers to life's questions, the invisible world, beliefs about spirits and afterlife, music created with bone flutes, fire mastered and controlled. They live in caves carved by nature. They bury their dead with ceremony and care. The Moon Clan rescued Nata and her companions, fed them, warmed them, brought them back from the edge of death. Their chief wants to know who dared dig up his ancestors' graves, who disturbed the stones, who touched the sacred burial sites. Nata's face intrigues the chief. Those flat features, that smooth forehead, that light build. Who are these beings? They must be revived, brought back to full strength. Then questions can be asked, then answers can be demanded. The shaman regains consciousness several times over the following days. Everything is strange, different from what she knows. The cave, the darkness, the smoke, the sounds of a language she doesn't understand. What are they doing with her man? One of the hunters who survived. They're taking him away, carrying his body. They can't do that. He must stay with her. She needs him. Her clan needs him. She tries to speak, to protest, but her voice is weak. Her body won't obey. She falls back into darkness, differences in culture, in language, in way of life. For these sapiens, the Neanderthal practices are sacrilegious, wrong, disturbing. Nevertheless, Neanderthal culture is no less rich, no less interesting, no less valid than sapiens culture, just different. The next day, the smell of cooked meat wakes Nata and her sister. Rich, savoury, delicious. Their stomachs clench with hunger. Hunger overrules fear. They eat what's offered, not asking, not questioning, just consuming. Since the snow, they've forgotten everything but hunger. Where are they? How did they get here? Who are these strange people? Bit by bit, images of the men with big noses crowd Nata's thoughts. Heavy features, thick bodies, different eyes. Who are these people? Memories from her journey surface slowly. The cold, the climb, the collapse, the rescue. It wasn't a dream. This is real. Samki, where is he? The hunter, her sister's mate. Nata suddenly remembers where they took him, where they put her companion. She has no idea that it's a tomb. To Neanderthals, the cave of the dead is sacred. Bodies are laid there with ceremony, with respect. She follows the path the Neanderthals took, down into darkness, deeper into the earth. They hid him, placed him like game stored for later, like the skeletons in the snow. But he wasn't dead. He was just weak, just sick. Samki lies on stone, cold, still, not breathing. He's dead. He died while she slept. While the Neanderthals fed her and warmed her, she must give him to the light, her people's way, so that the mountain winds may carry his spirit to the sun. But there's no light here, no sky, just stone and darkness. To survive during the cold winter, Neanderthal eats mostly meat. He's the greatest hunter on the planet. Fearless, skilled, patient. He hunts mammoth, cave bear, giant elk, animals that would terrify sapiens, animals sapiens avoids. As the chief enters the cave, a surprise awaits him. The corpse buried the day before is gone. The stones have been moved, the body taken. It escaped somehow. But how? The dead don't walk, the dead don't move. Where is it? Where did it go? Maybe it went into the ground, sank into the earth, returned to the mother. What is that strange voice? High-pitched, keening. Is it the spirit calling? The body was there, right there. Now it's gone and the woman is crying out. The Neanderthal chief doesn't understand Nata's trance. The movements of her body intrigue him. She sways, she chants, she reaches toward the sky beyond the cave opening. She's trying to send the spirit away, to free it, to let it travel to the land of light. Her culture, her ritual, her grief expressed in ways the Neanderthals don't comprehend. Nata and her sister will stay with the Moon Clan. No choice. They can't survive alone, can't cross back over the mountains, can't return to the south. Without knowing it, these sapiens have discovered a new continent, Europe, a vast land of forests and rivers, of mountains and plains. This crossing of the Alps opened a route. Others will follow in the footsteps of these pioneers. More sapiens will come north, more groups seeking new territories, new hunting grounds. This encounter is but the first. There will be others, many others. Sapiens and Neanderthal will meet repeatedly as Sapiens spreads across Europe. In a few millennia, Sapiens and Neanderthal will undertake an exceptional adventure together. They'll share knowledge, share territory, share hunts, big game hunting, cooperative hunting, using both Sapiens' creativity and Neanderthal's strength. Together, they're more effective than either species alone. At the same time, on the other side of the planet, Homo sapiens discovers Asia, following coastlines, following rivers, always moving, always exploring. Due to the Ice Age, ocean levels are 120 meters lower than today. An enormous amount of water is locked in polar ice, in glaciers covering the northern continents. The islands of Southeast Asia are joined together. What today are separate landmasses are connected by exposed continental shelf. Indonesia is one continuous land bridge. Homo sapiens' voyage will push him to the ends of the earth, to places no human has ever seen, to lands waiting for discovery. Throughout his migrations, Sapiens' appearance changes dramatically. The climates and environments modify the shape of his eyes to protect from sun and snow. His nose adapts to warm or cool the air he breathes. The colour of his skin adjusts to the intensity of sunlight. He also discovers a new and marvellous way to get around, a method that will allow him to reach places no land animal could ever access. Navigation. For generations, the river clan makes waterways the centre of its life. Rivers provide everything: fish, fresh water, transportation, defence. Water is sacred to them. She's the compass they follow. She protects them from danger. She guides them to new lands. They've been travelling down this body of water for months, moving with the current, building rafts and simple boats from logs lashed together. They crossed the Indonesian peninsula without seeing even one other clan. Just empty forests, abundant game, rivers teeming with fish. Nevertheless, another human inhabits this land. He's been observing their movements for a long time, watching from the shadows, curious but cautious. This human being is also a descendant of Homo erectus. Having arrived here almost 2 million years ago, he evolved into many subspecies that populate all of Asia. Peking man, Java man, Flores man. Each adapted to their particular environment. Each developed unique characteristics. Some grew very large, others became very small. Some developed heavy bones, others light frames. All found ways to survive. Only the youth of the river clan saw the curious man clearly, standing at the forest edge, watching. No one believes the youth's story. Strange men in the forest. Impossible. They would have seen signs, footprints, fire, tools. The river clan is always on the move, following the water, carried by the currents of this life-giving vein that becomes larger with each passing day. More tributaries join. The river widens. The current strengthens. They're approaching something big. 60,000 years ago, the river clan arrives at Land's End in Asia. The continent stops. The river empties into something vast beyond imagination. They discover the Pacific Ocean for the first time. For them, this expanse of water is just a larger river. It's so wide they can't see the other side. The horizon curves away. Water meets sky. They know nothing like it. The immense waves and crashing surf make their bodies tremble with fear and fascination. They're fascinated, terrified, drawn forward despite danger. The chief is determined to find land on the other side of the water. He believes it's there, just beyond the horizon. Land must continue. The world can't just end. He decides to split the clan in two. He'll leave with his shaman and his family. They'll cross this giant river and return for the rest. Half stay, half go. It's decided. Homo sapiens is still unaware that thousands of kilometers of deep, dangerous waters lie in front of him. Storms, currents, creatures of the deep. Carried by their faith, this group of men and women throws themselves into conquering an ocean whose monstrous powers they can't imagine. They build their best raft, strong logs, thick vines, provisions of dried fish and fresh water in sealed gourds. Those remaining set up camp on the shore. Just one warrior protects 3 women and a child. Snake Eyes, the best fisher of the clan. Since they settled here, the curious man has come by many times. Always the same one. Always doing the same thing. Watching, following, never approaching. It's always him. The youth insists. The same face, the same walk, the same behaviour. Snake Eyes wants to meet this stranger. He knows it's prudent to understand strangers before they become mean or dangerous, to make contact, to communicate, to establish peace. The man always runs away when Snake Eyes approaches. His behaviour is curious, unusual. What does he want? This time, Snake Eyes decides to act differently. He'll use his hunting skills, his ability to track and stalk. He knows that no man has ever outrun him. He's fast, patient. He can read signs in the forest that others miss. In this Asian jungle, he can read all the signals, decipher the animal cries, locate any creature at a distance from the slightest sound or movement. He follows the stranger's trail, broken twigs, disturbed leaves, footprints in soft earth. He's right there, close, very close. But what does the stranger want? Why all this watching? Snake Eyes is captured, like a blind buffalo walking into a trap. The ground gives way beneath him, a pit, deep, lined with sharpened stakes. He falls, not onto the stakes. The strangers planned it that way. They want him alive, caught but unharmed. Snake Eyes has fallen into the clutches of what he believes is a forest spirit. These Homo erectus subspecies are truly formidable hunters, masters of their domain. In such a hostile environment, their rules for survival assume that every living thing is potentially edible. Food is food. Even humans, under certain circumstances, when game is scarce, when hunger demands it. These Homo erectus captured him like they would a large bird, carefully, deliberately. They want to examine him before deciding his fate. For the moment they admire his plumage and colours, the shells he wears, the paint on his skin, the feathers in his hair. They invite him to share their meal, offer him food, cooked meat, roots. They're being hospitable. But what blood is this? Fresh blood, human blood, smeared on their faces, on their hands. Do they plan to kill and eat him too? Is this his last meal before becoming theirs? Snake Eyes must remain calm. Panicking will make things worse. He needs to think, to observe, to find a way out. Those navigating towards the other shore are quickly swept away. The winds and currents are stronger than anything they've experienced. The ocean doesn't behave like a river. The raft spins, pitches, water washes over it. They hold on desperately, bailing water, fighting to stay afloat. When they wake up that morning, after a night of terror, there is no land on either side, no land ahead, no land behind. There are no birds in the sky, no clouds, just endless blue water in every direction. The chief doesn't understand. The world disappeared. The giant river covered everything, swallowed all land. They drift slowly towards Antarctica, pulled by currents they can't fight, moving away from Asia, away from their people, away from any hope of return. Days pass. Their water runs low, their food runs out, the sun burns their skin, the salt spray blinds them, They're dying slowly on the endless ocean. Back on shore, Snake Eyes is alive. Somehow. The erectus hunters spare him. Maybe his strangeness intrigued them too much to simply eat him. Maybe they see him as something special, sacred, touched by spirits. Snake Eyes has aroused the hunters' curiosity. They want to know the secrets of the painted men who walk on water, who travel on floating logs, who catch fish with hooks and nets. They want to know about the powers of their shells and tools, the magic of their decorations. The clan chief still hasn't returned from crossing the great water. Days turn to weeks. Weeks turn to a moon. Then another. What if they never come back? What if the giant river swallowed them? What if they're all dead? Weakened by the lack of water, one of those on the raft has just died. The shaman. His belief shattered in the face of endless ocean. No land of spirits saved him. No power protected him. When faced with nature's wrath, Homo sapiens often doubts the reason for his existence, questions his beliefs, loses faith in the stories that sustained him. Those who walk on water begin exchanging their knowledge with the forest people, teaching and learning. The art of jewelry making passes both ways. Fishing techniques are demonstrated. Manufacture of tools and clothing is shared. Bonds form between these two peoples despite their genetic differences. Despite being different species technically, they're both human, both intelligent, both capable of culture and kindness. All over the Asian continent, sapiens and erectus probably intermingle in this way, creating connections, sharing territories, learning from each other. Together they make up the large family of Asian peoples, a blending of ancient erectus bloodlines and new sapiens innovations. After hundreds of kilometers drifting, the navigators are weak, dehydrated beyond recognition, sunburned until their skin is black and peeling, delirious from thirst. Then someone sees it. Land. The other side of the big river. Land has returned from the depths. They navigated for days and days, thanks to the currents carrying them, thanks to their ignorance of how impossible this journey should be, thanks to their bravery and refusal to give up. They finally arrive in a land yet unexplored by any human, isolated for millions of years, evolved in complete separation from the rest of the world. Perhaps they believe they've reached the secret world of their dreams, the spirit realm, the afterlife. 60,000 years ago, Homo sapiens discovers an immense landmass separated from the rest of the world for millions of years. Australia, the cradle of unique plant and animal species found nowhere else. Marsupials, giant flightless birds, reptiles the size of crocodiles. The chief and his people will navigate the ocean many times, trying desperately to find their way back, to return for those they left behind. They never find the route home. The currents don't allow it. They're trapped in this new world, isolated, separated from all other humans. They'll form the basis of another large human family, a people of extraordinary navigation skill who will eventually colonize the entire Pacific, the Polynesians, the Aboriginal Australians, the Pacific Islanders. In the rest of Asia, the migrations continue northward. Homo sapiens crosses China, moves into Siberia, follows herds of mammoth and reindeer. Eventually, Sapiens enters America on foot, via the Bering Land Bridge, a connection between Asia and North America exposed by low sea levels. Meanwhile, Sapiens enters Europe in succeeding waves, each group finding new routes, new passes through the mountains, new ways to survive the cold. He adapts to the frigid life of the tundra, learns to hunt in snow, to track animals through ice, to survive winters that last 9 months. We are at minus 40,000 years. Whipped by glacial winds, the European winter is terrible, brutal, deadly to those unprepared. Man's only food is meat during these months. Plants don't grow, fruits don't ripen, nuts and seeds are buried under snow, but the herds are scarce, moving constantly. Sometimes they disappear altogether from entire regions. Famine takes hold when the herds move on. People starve, children die first, then the old, then everyone else. Sapiens is always on the move, looking for game, following the herds, never settling for long. He lives in teepees made of animal skins and branches, perched on high hills, always watching, always scanning the horizon. They're constantly on the lookout for movement, for the dark shapes of mammoth or reindeer against white snow. During these times of scarcity, women don't produce milk for their infants. Their bodies are too starved, too depleted. So infants die, one after the other, unable to nurse, unable to survive. The chief of the reindeer clan has found one rabbit, dead from cold, frozen solid in the snow, not nearly enough to feed his 2 women and his clan of 15 people. A rabbit feeds 1 person for 1 day, maybe 2 if the portions are small. The reindeer clan is turning into the silent clan. No energy for talking, no strength for anything but survival. The chief, Akia, stalks the vicinity tirelessly, listening for movement in the bushes, for the smallest animal cry, for any sign of prey. Even the tough and smelly flesh of birds is better than nothing. Crows, ravens, owls, anything with meat on its bones. He has a new weapon, a throwing stick that increases the force of his spear, makes it fly farther and faster. He never misses his mark at this distance. Suddenly he sees her, a woman, standing alone near a frozen stream. Not one of his women. He approaches cautiously, asks her who she is and what she's doing on his territory, in his hunting grounds. The woman doesn't understand his language, doesn't respond, just looks at him with interest. She wants his necklace, the shells he wears. She reaches for them, touches them, admires them. She's got an odd face, bumps over her eyes, a heavy brow ridge. Her nose is large. Her build is thick and powerful. This woman is a member of the Neanderthal people. They're starving too. The winter is brutal for everyone. She's entranced by the shells on the Sapiens necklace. She's never seen ocean shells before. Her people live far from any sea. These objects are exotic, beautiful, valuable. He's overwhelmed by his desire to touch her, to smell her, to know her. She's different, strange, powerful looking. He wants to take her, to make her his, to bring her back to his clan. His advances have never been refused before. He's Akia, chief of the reindeer clan, strong, successful, respected. But she pushes him away. Not now, not here, not yet. At dawn the next day, strange and new animal cries ring out near the camp, deep, resonant, like nothing they've heard before. Massive animals covered with long hair and enormous curved tusks saunter down from the north, moving slowly, grazing on whatever they can find beneath the snow. These are the long noses, the mammoths. The shaman knows them from the stories. There were many before, huge herds. But they disappeared from this region long ago. All that meat is within easy reach, walking slowly, not running, not hiding. But how will they go about killing them? These animals are enormous, powerful, dangerous. Their tusks can gore, their trunks can crush, their feet can stomp a man flat. The crazy old shaman is ready to face the mammoths, dancing, chanting, invoking spirits. But that doesn't reassure the chief. Akia has killed reindeer, stags, wild pigs. But he's never dared attack such a powerful beast, something that could kill him with a single swipe of its trunk. The shaman will call upon the ancestral spirits to give strength to the hunters, to guide their spears, to protect them from harm. Akea will succeed. The shaman knows this. He's seen it in his visions, behind his eyes, in the dream world. The mammoths have been on Earth for millions of years, ancient creatures, survivors of countless ice ages. For these pachyderms, as for the men watching them, the ice age is a curse. These huge beasts travel enormous distances every day to find the 200 kilos of food each one needs. Grass beneath snow, bark from trees, roots dug from frozen ground. The shaman stays on the mountain top while the hunters descend, invoking the spirits, calling to the ancestors. Spirits of our ancestors, give courage and strength to our hunters. Kill these giants for us. Let us eat. Let us survive another winter. Akea knows hunting. He's good at it, the best in his clan. But this is different. This is madness. They are nothing in the face of these monsters. Tiny, weak, insignificant. Their spears look like toothpicks against that thick hide. Although their hearts beat with fear, their stomachs scream with hunger. Hunger is stronger than fear. Hunger makes you brave. Hunger makes you do impossible things. The smell of living meat makes them salivate. Their feet fly toward the herd, running before thinking, acting on instinct. However, they're too fast, too eager. The mammoths see them coming, sense danger. The long-noses are suspicious of men. They've been hunted before by Neanderthals. They flee, turning, moving away from the hunters. The hunters give chase, but mammoths are faster than they look. Long legs, steady pace. They pull away easily. The way ahead is blocked. The mammoths reach a dead end, a cliff face, steep rocks, no path forward. They'll have to retrace their steps, turn around, confront their attackers. Their desperate fear makes them even more dangerous. Cornered animals fight harder, kill faster. One of them, the youngest mammoth, is frightened by the human cries, the shouts, the waving arms, the thrown rocks. He's afraid to turn back toward the hunters, afraid of their spears, their fire, their noise. It's man against beast now, life against life, survival against survival. Man loses this first encounter. One hunter is caught by a mammoth's trunk, thrown into rocks. His back breaks. He dies instantly. But there's still hope for the others, still a chance at success. Over there, a group of Neanderthals. They've also come to hunt the mammoths, drawn by the same cries, the same movements, the same desperate hunger. They have an advantage over the reindeer clan. They know something important, a secret. The long noses are afraid of fire, terrified of flames. They remember being burned, their thick hair catching fire, the pain. The Neanderthal woman is there, the one Akea met by the stream. She frightens the mammoths with torches, waving burning branches, forcing them to retrace their steps back toward the trapped hunters. They've still got one last chance to succeed. The Sapiens hunters wait with spears ready. The Neanderthals drive the mammoths toward them, working together without words, without planning, just instinct. Their spears are useless against the adult mammoth's tough skin. The points break, the shafts snap. Nothing penetrates deep enough, but they don't have a choice. They must try. They must succeed or starve. The young mammoth charges for the opening, trying to escape the fire, trying to break through the line of hunters. Neanderthal is there, blocking the path, spear braced, ready. The young mammoth is smaller, less experienced. Its hide is not as thick as the adult's, more vulnerable. Neanderthal knows that isolating the beast isn't enough. He must cut off any escape route, trap it completely. Neanderthal is the greatest of hunters, born for this, trained from childhood, fearless, but a mysterious sickness eats away at his body, has been for generations, a disease that will eventually doom his entire species. The long nose is cornered now, trapped between fire and spears, between Neanderthals and Sapiens, between stone walls. Sapiens and Neanderthal are united around the same prey for the first time, not competing, not fighting each other, cooperating. These men and women close in on the giant, pushed together by the same instinct, the same need, the same desperation. To survive, that's all, just survive. Its movements must be kept to a minimum. Tire it out, wound it gradually, make it weak. This time the Neanderthal woman isn't competing against the Sapiens man. She's working with him, beside him. Together they're stronger. They've got the young mammoth now, surrounded, at their mercy, unable to escape or fight back effectively. They aim for the vulnerable spots where the skin is thinnest, the groin, the anus, the eyes, the soft parts that a spear can penetrate. The animal screams, trumpets, calls for its herd, but the adult mammoths have fled, saved themselves, left the young one behind. Finally, mercifully, it falls, collapses, bleeds out onto snow turned red. The shaman will thank the ancestors long into the night, singing, dancing, burning sacred herbs. Thanks to them, thanks to the spirits, the reindeer clan just invented a new way to hunt. Organised big game hunting, multiple hunters, coordinated effort, fire and spears, traps and cooperation. This new method will have considerable consequences on the life of man. Everything will change because of this moment. The mammoth's meat gives the clan an enormous supply of food. The carcass weighs thousands of kilos. They can go months before their next hunt, months without starvation, months with full bellies. For the first time in history, man has time ahead of him. Free time. Time not spent hunting or gathering or surviving moment to moment. Time to think, to experiment, to create, to make seemingly useless things, beautiful things, things that serve no practical purpose. Art, music, stories, culture. Neanderthal and Sapiens are assembled around the kill with new feelings washing through them. Feelings they've never experienced before. Helping one another, cooperation, solidarity, feelings of attraction between the different peoples. The Neanderthal woman wants the chief of the reindeer clan for herself. She's made her choice. Akea is strong, successful. He has those beautiful shells. But Akea already has two companions, two women who share his tent, his food, his status. Nothing will happen without their approval. The women decide, the women choose, the women accept or reject. They approve. After discussion, after negotiation, after establishing new hierarchies. In the future they'll live together, combined clans, Neanderthals and Sapiens, learning from each other, sharing resources. The two groups have a lot to learn from one another. Different tools, different techniques, different languages, different beliefs. Gradually they'll learn each other's languages, word by word, gesture by gesture, building bridges of communication. The discovery of cooperation for big game hunts lays the groundwork for an inevitable connection between men of different origins, between different human species. Soon, new links will be forged. Marriages, alliances, the roots of complex society. Tonight, Akea wants to take the woman who stirs his desire, The Neanderthal woman, strong, exotic, powerful. But what evil makes her nose bleed suddenly? Blood drips, stains her lips, won't stop flowing. Although the Neanderthal woman suffers from a sickness, a weakness in her blood, they don't let it interfere with their enjoyment of one another. They couple, they bond, they create connection between their peoples. The shaman of the reindeer clan isn't pleased with this alliance. He's suspicious of the Neanderthal woman, her people, their ways. He believes she brings bad spirits, bad luck, disease. He can see the sickness in her blood, in her weakness. This woman and Akia both belong to mankind. Both are human, but they're not the same species, not genetically compatible for reproduction. Their union will not produce offspring. No children will come from their coupling. They're too different, too separated by evolution. The woman's spirit stole the chief's attention, his energy, his focus. The shaman believes this. The reindeer clan must be protected from outside influence, from contamination. Akia's spirit must be regained, recaptured, brought back to his own people. That night, the fire projects the shadow of the chief's headdress onto the rock wall of the cave, antlers silhouetted, dancing in firelight. The shaman sees it. The animal nature within the chief, dancing on the rock, captured in shadow. He wants the memory of this magical moment to last, to be permanent, to remain after the fire dies. So he follows the contours with charcoal from burnt wood, tracing the shadow, making it solid, making it real. A spirit appears on the rock, the spirit of Achaea, captured, trapped, no longer inside the Neanderthal woman. The shaman took it back from her, reclaimed it, restored it to its proper place. 40,000 years ago, the first symbolic representation is drawn on rock in Europe, not by accident, not as decoration, as magic, as power, as control over spirits, the birth of cave art, the beginning of something that will transform humanity forever. Soon this invention will have a universal impact, spreading across continents, carried by travellers, copied by other clans, modified, improved, made more complex. A few years pass. They're combined. Clans travel together, hunting together, sharing territories, building bonds. In their travels, most of the Neanderthals have died from the sickness that afflicts them. A disease that's been killing them slowly for thousands of years, weakening their immune systems, making them vulnerable. There are just 3 Neanderthals left now, including the chief's woman, the one he took, the one he loves. She can't take it any longer. The travel, the sickness, the weakness in her body. She'll remain where she is. Stop here. Rest. It's the end of her journey, the end of her strength, the end of her life approaching. No child came from her belly during these years with Achaea, no pregnancy, no hope of offspring. Their species are too different. The clan can't stop for her. Winter is nipping at their heels, coming fast. They must walk south before snow blocks the passes. Time is of the essence. Survival depends on movement. Achaea must walk at the front, lead his people, make decisions. The future of the reindeer clan takes precedence over everything else, over love, over individual attachment, over personal desire. Exhausted from the fever, the woman wants to rest, to cool down in the icy water of the stream, to find peace. Achaea leaves her there. No choice, no alternative. He'll never see her again, never see any Neanderthals again. Neanderthal is dying as a species. Little by little, this magnificent human is disappearing from the earth, cut down by disease, by declining birth rate, by competition for resources. It remains a mystery why they went extinct. Scientists still debate. Was it disease? climate, competition with sapiens, interbreeding that diluted their population. All of these? None of these? Akea doesn't want to hear the shaman's prayers anymore. His chanting, his rituals, his explanations about spirits and balance. Perhaps Akea questions the fragility of all species, questions whether any of us are meant to last, questions the meaning of survival when everything eventually dies. Neanderthal disappears from the earth completely around 30,000 years ago, after living successfully for hundreds of thousands of years. Gone. Big game hunts spread across Europe and Asia. The technique perfected by that first cooperation. The method refined through practice. The rhythm of life changes all over the planet because of this, because of cooperative hunting, because of surplus food, because of time. More free time means more creations, more thinking, more experimenting, more culture. Homo sapiens sculpts objects from bone and ivory, makes costumes from animal hides decorated with shells and beads, creates jewellery, decorates his tools with patterns and symbols. It's a veritable cultural explosion happening simultaneously in many places. Humans everywhere suddenly expressing themselves, creating, building, imagining. In certain areas of Europe, a powerful human creation appears, something that will echo through millennia. Cave art, deep inside earth, hidden from light, sacred spaces. Art becomes more than decoration. It becomes message, communication, magic, religion, history, all combined into images on stone. We are in France, 20,000 years ago. Homo sapiens have dispersed throughout Europe, adapted to many environments, created diverse cultures. Sometimes sapiens suffers from isolation. Some clans don't find other populations to mingle with. They're too far from others, too separated by geography. They reproduce amongst themselves, generation after generation, 1, 2, 3 generations without fresh blood. Inevitably, inbreeding strikes their children. Genetic problems appear, weaknesses, disabilities, children incapable of reproducing when they grow up. This puts the survival of the clan in jeopardy. Without new members, without new genetics, without mixing with other groups, they're doomed. For years, Atka the sorcerer has tried to cure his people of this curse, this genetic weakness, this inability to produce healthy children. However, the ancestor spirits who guide him say nothing. No visions, no guidance, no answers to his prayers. Has Atka lost his power? Has he failed his people? Has he angered the spirits somehow? What good is a sorcerer who can't look after his clan, who can't protect them from this invisible enemy? Atka feels alone, isolated from the group he's supposed to guide, with only his son to care for, his strange son who doesn't speak, who avoids others, who seems trapped in his own world. Before, the bison hunting clan was prosperous, rich, successful. There were 8 hunters, 12 women, lots of children playing, lots of laughter echoing through camp. Today, there are only 9 people left, with one lone male child, Atka's son, the mute. If Atka doesn't find a solution soon, the clan will die out completely. The bloodline will end. The ancestors' spirits will have nowhere to return. The chief has just found a winter shelter, a cave, large, dry, protected from wind and snow. Atka's son is agitated the moment they approach it, moving strangely, making sounds. It's as if this place speaks to him, calls to him, as if he hears voices that others can't hear. The cave is welcoming enough, spacious, near water, sheltered from the worst winter winds, good drainage, high ceiling. It has the shape of a skull when viewed from the right angle. like looking into the head of some giant creature. Evidence shows that fires have been lit here before, remains of old hearths, bones scattered, tools left behind. Others lived here before the Bison clan. But where are they now? What happened to them? Why did they leave? The child is the first to find the passage, a narrow opening leading deeper into the cave, into darkness. It's his illness that led him to it, his need to hide himself, to avoid people, to find small enclosed spaces. Atka senses a presence deep in the belly of the cave, something watching, waiting. Who's hiding in the darkness? Bears sometimes den in caves, lions, even humans, dangerous to encounter in confined spaces. The rock answers him, echoes, resonates. The cave amplifies sound, makes it mysterious, powerful. Caves are the best places for shamanistic rituals, for communicating with spirits, for entering trances. This one looks promising. Atka ventures deeper, holding a torch, following the narrow passage, squeezing through tight spaces. He senses something powerful, something important. There, right beside him, on the wall, signs made by a man's hand, images, symbols, ancient. The first rock paintings show simple shapes, streaks, circles, spirals, dots, patterns that mean something. These shapes are a shaman's visions in the first stage of a hallucinogenic trance. What shamans see when they journey to the spirit world. Universal patterns, geometric forms. They'd been here before. Other men, other shamans. Their hands had etched this rock, marked this sacred space. What went on here? What rituals? What ceremonies? What magic? Did they wish to leave a message? Instructions, warnings, stories? Atka knows how to take hidden powers from nature, from roots, insects, mollusks, plants that alter consciousness, substances that open doorways to other realms. He turns them into colours for his paint, pigments that last, and healing potions that cure some ailments. He'll use them now to help find the wayward spirit of his son, the part of the boy trapped in the spirit world, to bring him back into the real world, to make him whole. This slug is magical, rare, hard to find. It will allow Atka to reach the depths of his soul, to travel to the invisible world where his son's spirit hides. His sorcerer ancestor taught him everything, passed down knowledge through generations. Long ago, the ancestor returned to nature, became a bison, transformed. Since then, the animal spirit has guided their family, protected them, given them power. Atka calls upon it now, invokes it, begs for help healing his son, for saving his clan. The slug's magical effect is quick, powerful. The world changes, reality shifts, colours intensify. The sick spirit of the child resists, flees, tries to evade capture in the spirit realm, running through the maze of the invisible world. Atka follows step by step. He won't let it escape. He'll chase it through every realm, every layer of reality. Outside the trance, outside the cave, the clan settles down to eat their evening meal, hungry, tired, preparing for winter. Their wish is about to come true, unexpected, miraculous. Men and women from another clan approach, strangers, travellers, but humans, potential mates, fresh genetics. They don't speak the same language as the Bison clan. Gestures must suffice, signs, facial expressions, tone of voice. They must welcome those who come from elsewhere, offer hospitality, show friendliness. These strangers represent salvation, but luck isn't completely with them. These strangers see the cave, see the good shelter, want it for themselves. It's the Bison clan's cave. They found it first. They don't want another clan here, don't want to share. They don't want to share resources, territory, space. They want the strangers to leave. The men begin to argue, pushing, shouting, threatening, violence brewing. Deep in the cave, Atka's trance intensifies. His arms fight against invisible enemies, against spirit forces. The spirit of the bison takes over Atka's body, possesses him, transforms him. He's no longer himself. He's the animal ancestor. One of the strange women wears sorcerer's signs, symbols painted on her body, feathers in her hair, shells around her neck. She's a shaman too, from the other clan. She tunes in immediately to Atka's calls echoing from the depths of the stone skull, to the spiritual energy radiating from the cave. The sorceress enters the cave, drawn by power, by magic, by recognition of a kindred spirit. Atka is no longer Atka. His body doesn't belong to him. His movements are those of the animal, the bison, powerful, primal. The sorceress understands. She sees what's happening. She enters his trance, joins him in the spirit journey, merges her power with his. Before the stranger's eyes, Atka's hand begins to move, charcoal in his fingers, tracing, drawing, creating. The contours of a new image appear on the stone wall, an image from the spirit world made manifest in this one. The men from both clans fighting outside are drawn by the sounds from the cave, chanting, rhythmic breathing, strange calls. They stop fighting, stop arguing, wait to see what will happen next, what's emerging from the darkness. The image takes on a form they recognize, an animal, powerful, alive somehow. It reminds them of emotions they've experienced, fear, awe, respect, the feeling of encountering a bison in the wild. They look at one another, strangers from different clans. They feel the same thing, the same recognition, the same connection. The image speaks to them, speaks directly to their hearts, beyond language, beyond culture, beyond differences. Everything's in motion. A transformation is taking place before their eyes. Something magical, something profound. Is it from the glow of the flames Atka's using, or the sorcerer's dance, or the way shadows move across the rough stone? They all see it. The spirit of the animal appears, moves, advances, walks across the wall. They can even hear its breath, its hooves, its power. They're experiencing something beyond the physical world, touching the inner workings of the human soul, connecting with something universal. Cave painting becomes a language at this moment, a language that will allow all Homo sapiens to understand one another, to accept one another, to recognize shared humanity. It will be a universal message that touches the hearts of men across all boundaries, all differences, all separations, bridges solidarity between groups, creates bonds where none existed, unites strangers into communities. Together they prepare for the arrival of winter. The two clans combined now, working as one unit, helping one another, exchanging skills, finding better ways to protect themselves from icy winds, building better shelters, creating warmer clothing, smoking more meat. Atka hasn't found his child's lost spirit yet, not completely. The boy is still trapped partly in the other world. But there's hope now, help, another shaman to share the burden, to combine power. The two sorcerers exchange secrets on medicinal plants, knowledge about healing, about spirit work, about trance states. Knowledge shared is knowledge gained, wisdom multiplied, power amplified. They begin to amass an understanding of nature's mysteries that would have taken generations for one person to discover. One day, from this vast accumulated knowledge passed through generations, medicine will be born. Real medicine. systematic healing, understanding of the body and mind. Between minus 30,000 and minus 20,000 years ago, works of art appear over most of the planet, separated by thousands of kilometers, created by people who have never met. It's as if all Homo sapiens gave each other a signal somehow, a collective awakening, a shared inspiration. All over the world, art assembles little groups of men, helps them recognize each other as human, as kin, as worthy of respect and cooperation. Small groups ally with bigger communities. Bigger communities form networks. Networks become something like nations. Suddenly, 12,000 years ago, everything changes again. The temperature rises dramatically, rapidly. It's the beginning of a major climatic change, the end of the Ice Age, the birth of the modern climate. 2/3 of the polar ice caps melt over a few thousand years. Water returns to the oceans. Sea levels rise 120 meters. Coastlines change completely. The continents gradually take on the shapes we recognize today. Land bridges disappear underwater. Islands separate from mainlands. New seas form. A grandiose era of human life is coming to a close. The Ice Age, the time of mammoths and cave bears, the time of harsh survival. But a new era is beginning, the Holocene, our current geological period, the time of plenty. Almost everywhere the weather becomes mild, temperate, predictable. Water becomes abundant. Rivers flow year-round. Lakes form in former glacial valleys. The earth becomes generous. Plants grow everywhere. Forests spread. Grasslands expand. Animals multiply. Sapiens discovers regions so rich in game and edible plants that he stops travelling constantly, stops the endless wandering that characterized his existence for thousands of generations. He can stay in one place, return to the same location season after season, build permanent structures. He builds villages of stone, built to last, built to return to, built to call home. For many, it's the end of a nomadic life that dates back to the beginning of time, back to when the first apes climbed down from trees, back to when humans first stood upright. With settling down, everything will change. Everything about human society, everything about how we live, everything about what we can accomplish. We're in Mesopotamia now, 12,000 years ago, the Fertile Crescent, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, paradise on earth. Listen to my story. It completely changed the life of man, changed everything about how we live, about what we became. My mother was young, beautiful, full of life. We didn't know then what we know today, didn't know what was possible, what would come. Everyone loved Nene, especially my mother. He was handsome, strong, kind, a good hunter. When he stopped to see her on his way back from hunting, he always brought bird eggs, her favourite, special gifts just for her. Life had become easier for men and women, more time for relationships, for love, for choosing partners based on affection rather than just survival. They were beginning to take time to enjoy each other's company, to talk, to laugh, to build bonds beyond simple mating. My mother was in love with Nene, truly in love, and he was in love with her, deeply, completely. They didn't hide their affection, held hands, touched faces, smiled at each other constantly. It amused everyone, especially the chief of the village. He remembered being young, being in love. He approved of their happiness. They'd been together barely 2 moons. Young love, new love, happy and carefree. However, that day she'd had a premonition, a feeling, a sense that something was wrong, something was coming. Back then we had to go far into the mountains to pick the wild wheat that grew there. native grasses with edible seeds, important food. As summer's days grew shorter, as autumn approached, we harvested as much grain as possible, stored it, saved it to last through winter. Nene knew that at this time of year falcons laid their eggs in cliff nests, high up, difficult to reach. My mother loved eggs, craved them. 10,000 years ago, man lives in complete harmony with nature. She no longer makes him suffer constantly, no longer threatens him at every turn. He enjoys her wonderful surprises, her gifts, her abundance, her generosity. She didn't see him leave that morning, didn't see him climb toward the cliffs, so she thinks he's playing a trick on her, hiding, teasing. She calls his name, Nene, Nene. No answer. Then she remembers her premonition, the feeling of dread, the certainty that something bad was going to happen. Homo sapiens takes pleasure in nature now, benefits from it, lives with it peacefully. But if he upsets the balance, nature retaliates, reminds him of her power, punishes carelessness. The mountain swallows Nene's body, a rock slide, sudden, unexpected, tons of stone cascading down. My mother looks for him desperately, searching, calling, hoping, right up until they hear the wolf howl, distant, mournful, the sound of death. They fear for Nene's life, fear he's injured, trapped, dying somewhere they can't reach. If there's a pack of wolves, it's better to stay together. Safety in numbers. Wolves are dangerous, cunning, patient hunters. They continue searching, calling his name. Neni, Neni, where are you? Answer us. A howl again. Then another sound, a moaning, a cry, human but strange. She senses that Neni is close, somewhere nearby, alive maybe, hurt certainly. It's not Nini, but the strangest thing she's ever seen, the most impossible sight. A little boy, wild, dirty, with a she-wolf, standing together, the most ferocious carnivore beside a human child. The wolves had been by our side forever in one way, as threats, as dangers, as creatures that killed our children when they wandered into the forest alone. We didn't like wolves, especially our chief. He'd killed more than one, protected his people from them, defended children from attacks. He doesn't have time to take care of a wild child and his wolf right now. He hears the moans too, pained cries, human suffering. The child is wild, raised by animals, abandoned by his birth clan, or lost, or stolen by the wolf as a baby and somehow survived. My mother tries to comfort the child, reaches out, speaks softly, but he resists, snarls, backs away, doesn't understand human kindness. Enough. The chief loses his patience with the strange scene, with the delay. They need to find Nini. Find him now. Save him if possible. They stop looking for Nini soon after, distracted by what to do with the child and his wolf, by the impossibility of the situation. Nine would have answered them if he were alive, if he could hear, if breath still moved through him. The silence tells them everything. Nini is gone, taken by the mountain, buried under stone. Homo sapiens live here in little stone huts, built close together, assembled around a common grain loft, shared storage, shared resources, the first village, the first permanent houses, the beginning of settled life. My mother takes the child with her, brings him to her home, gives him Nine's bed, the empty space that needs filling. But the wild boy doesn't want to sleep, won't lie down, won't close his eyes. He listens to the mountain instead, straining to hear something, wolves calling, nature speaking. She can't believe that the she-wolf is the child's mother, his real mother, that he was raised by an animal, nursed by a wolf. We'd never seen this before. Never heard of such a thing. Children taken by predators usually died, usually became food, never became family. My mother has a lot of love to give. More than she knew. She needs someone to care for, someone to nurture, someone to fill the emptiness Nini left. I was the wild child, the one she took in. I didn't feel human at first, didn't understand human ways, didn't want human life. I thought I was a wolf, believed I belonged with the pack, with my animal mother who had raised me, fed me, kept me warm. My animal mother had picked me up when I was a baby, saved me from death, given me life. In this first village, Homo sapiens share the labour of survival. Each works for the community. Each contributes according to ability. Animal skins are now used for receptacles, containers, bags, water carriers, storage. Hot rocks from the fire make cooking pots boil. Water heats. Food cooks thoroughly. Less disease from raw meat. Women think about men. Men think about women. Relationships form based on choice, on attraction, on compatibility. There's not a single clan anymore ruling everything, but many families living close together. Each family has their own house, their own space, their own identity. People do favours for one another and visit regularly, share meals, share stories, share lives. Polygamy is disappearing gradually. One man with one woman becoming normal, preferred, expected. The family revolves around the couple now, a man and a woman, their children, sometimes their aging parents who can no longer work. It's the birth of today's family structure, the nuclear family, the basic unit of civilization. For my mother, this dream of family was shattered by Nini's death, by the mountain's cruelty, by fate's randomness. No trace of Nini could be found. No one had seen or heard him after the rock slide. No body to bury. No closure to find. My mother needs to give love, to love someone, to share her life. The emptiness inside her aches. I don't want anyone near me at first. Can't stand being touched. Hate the feel and smell of clothing. Hate walls. Hate enclosed spaces. I reject everyone's presence. Everyone except hers. My new mother. The one who shows patience. Who speaks softly. Who doesn't force. But I won't eat the black meat she offers from the fire. Cooked meat tastes wrong, smells strange. I want raw flesh, fresh kill, blood. Little by little she grows attached to the wild child, grows fond of me, learns my ways, earns my trust. I begin to take a place in her heart, slowly, carefully, the place of a son, the place Nene would have wanted filled. One day the she-wolf returns from the wilderness, comes to reclaim her son, her cub, her family. She'd fed me, protected me from other predators, kept me warm through cold nights since I was born, since the day she found me abandoned. Men don't like wolves because they don't know them, don't understand them, see only the danger, the threat, the competition. My wolf mother would never have harmed me intentionally, never saw me as prey, only as pack, as family, as one of her own. But the men think I'm in danger with her, think she'll eat me eventually, kill me when hunger strikes. They want to drive her away, kill her even. Like all children left alone with wolves, they expect tragedy, expect death, expect the worst. My new mother is the first to understand the truth, the first to see clearly, maybe because she can sense the animal's love, the genuine bond, the real connection between wolf and child. She's suffering from the absence of a loved one too, Nene, gone, taken, never coming back. I have two mothers now, two sources of love, two families pulling at me. I don't know which to choose, don't know where I belong. She knows how to speak to the wolf and to the child, understands both, bridges the gap, creates connection. That's how my human mother became my mother for always, forever. The one who raised me, taught me, loved me as her own. A year passes. I live among the people, learning their ways, becoming human slowly, understanding language, wearing clothes, walking upright all the time. The she-wolf stays near the village, watching, waiting, protecting from a distance. Little by little she grows accustomed to the presence of humans, stops seeing them as threats, starts seeing them as pack, as extended family. An alliance between man and animal is born through this connection, this unlikely relationship, this bridge between species. It's the beginning of a big adventure, not just with wolves, but with other animals too, animals that will join human society, become domesticated, become partners. 12,000 years ago, the first wolf joins the community of humans permanently, not as prey, not as threat, as companion, as ally. However, it takes generations of wolves born among men for them to become what today we call dogs, selective breeding, choosing the friendliest, the most useful, the most loyal. Thanks to my wolf mother, we make another major discovery, perhaps the most important discovery in human history. A skeleton lies in the middle of the wild wheat field, bones picked clean by scavengers, barely recognizable as human. It's Nini, finally found, months after his death. The mountain released him eventually. Rain and time exposed the bones. My mother knows right away what she's seeing, who these bones belong to, her lost love, her vanished partner, her Nini. It's his necklace, still around the neck bones, the shells he wore, the ones he was so proud of, unmistakable. My mother knows right away what she must do, what ritual is needed, what ceremony will honour him properly. The grains of wheat from Nine's gathering pouch had germinated where he fell, had grown right where they landed, sprouted, matured, produced new seeds. My human mother sees the pattern, understands the connection, realizes what it means. The chief understands too when she shows him. Each grain had reproduced into many others, multiplied, created abundance. It's so simple, so obvious once you see it. Yet no one had ever thought of it before, never made the connection. Plant seeds, harvest grain. Plant more seeds, harvest more grain. Control your food supply. Stay in one place. Agriculture is born from this observation, this understanding, this recognition of nature's patterns. My mother gives me Nene's necklace, passes it to me, makes me guardian of his memory, keeper of the story. I wear it my entire life, every day, until today, until this moment when I pass it to you. This necklace comes to you now, son of my son, grandson, inheritor of our history. Wear it, treasure it, leave it to those who come after you. Continue the chain, maintain the connection to our past. Tell this story to all who will listen, so that they never forget, so that they understand where they come from, what made them possible. It's 10,000 years ago now. Thanks to these amazing discoveries, agriculture and domestication, the life of man will never be the same again. The discovery of agriculture becomes widespread throughout the world over a few centuries, spreading from region to region, group to group, culture to culture. Homo sapiens settles down permanently next to his crops, builds lasting structures, creates permanent communities. He lives his life by the rhythm of seasons now, planting in spring, tending in summer, harvesting in autumn, storing for winter. Each year he reaps the fruits of his labour, his planning, his work, his foresight. The domestication of the wolf is followed by that of numerous other animals: goats, sheep, cattle, pigs, chickens. Homo sapiens discovers breeding, controlling reproduction, selecting for desired traits, creating animals suited to human needs. This provides a steady and abundant supply of food: milk, eggs, meat, all available without hunting, without the risk and uncertainty. In many places all over the world, giant monuments begin to reach towards the sky. Massive structures, temples, ceremonial centres, man's homage to the divinities he believes control his fate. Gods of sun and rain, gods of fertility and harvest, gods of life and death. The population increases dramatically. Villages grow into towns, towns grow into cities, cities grow into kingdoms. Trade expands between regions, ideas spread, technologies transfer, cultures influence each other across vast distances. Bigger and bigger groups form, thousands of people living together, tens of thousands, eventually hundreds of thousands. Soon large civilizations will appear: Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, China, Mesoamerica. Writing will be invented, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, philosophy, all the foundations of modern civilization. Prehistory is finished. History begins. The age of recorded events, of written accounts, of documented progress. No matter the colour of our skin today or the shape of our eyes, the 6 billion human beings who populate the earth all descend from the same family. She lived in the dawn of time, in Africa, walking upright, using simple tools, controlling fire. She gave birth to thousands of generations of men and women, right up to us, right up to this moment. Their discoveries still enrich our lives every single day. Fire and clothing, tools and language, art and music, agriculture and civilization. Such is the gift that our parents, as far back as they reach, gave to us, passed down through countless generations, preserved, improved, expanded. Their struggles made us possible. Their innovations made us successful. Their adaptations made us universal. Thanks to them, our children will continue forward. We'll solve problems we can't imagine. We'll create things we can't conceive. We'll go places we can't reach. They'll populate other planets eventually, spread beyond Earth, carry human consciousness to the stars. The story that began 400,000 years ago with a strange child born to erectus parents continues today, continues with you, continues forward into an unknowable future. We are Homo Sapiens, the wise man, the thinking man, the dreaming man. We rose from nothing to dominate this planet, not through strength or speed or size. We rose through cooperation, through imagination, through the ability to believe in things that don't exist yet, through faith in possibilities, through the capacity to share knowledge across generations, to build on what came before, to never stop exploring, never stop questioning, never stop creating. That's what made us different. That's what made us survive. That's what made us who we are. The same forces that drove our ancestors to stand upright, to control fire, to cross oceans, to paint caves, to plant seeds drive us today. Curiosity, creativity, courage, cooperation, the refusal to accept limits, the determination to survive, the dream of something better. Those forces will carry our children forward into futures we can barely imagine, into worlds we'll never see. The rise of Homo sapiens isn't finished. It's still happening, right now, through you, through every human alive today. We're still evolving, still adapting, still discovering, still creating, still dreaming, still reaching beyond our limits, still surviving against odds, still changing the world. That's our legacy. That's our gift. That's our responsibility, to honor those who came before by continuing their journey, by adding our chapter to their story, by passing the torch to those who follow. This is what made Homo sapiens rise above all species, not our bodies, not our brains alone, but our spirits, our connections, our shared humanity, our ability to look at the stars and imagine reaching them, our capacity to face extinction and refuse to accept it, our determination to leave the world different than we found it. We are the children of those who stood up when others stayed down, who controlled fire when others feared it, who crossed oceans when others stayed on shore, who planted when others only gathered, who built when others only used. Their blood runs through us. Their dreams live in us. Their future depends on us. The story continues. The journey proceeds. The rise goes on. What will you add to it? What chapter will you write? What gift will you give to those who come after? The answer is yours to discover, yours to create, yours to live. That's what it means to be Homo sapiens. That's what it means to be human. That's what it means to rise. 8,000 years ago, the villages grow. What started as small settlements of 10 or 20 houses become something larger, something unprecedented. Towns with hundreds of people, then thousands, all living together in one place, all depending on each other for survival. This has never happened before in the history of life on Earth. No other species has ever organized itself this way, in such numbers, with such complexity. The challenges are immense. How do you feed thousands? How do you organize labor? How do you resolve conflicts? How do you maintain order? Homo sapiens must invent new solutions, new structures, new rules. Leadership changes. The strongest hunter is no longer automatically the chief. Now other qualities matter. The ability to organize, to plan, to negotiate, to inspire. Some leaders claim divine authority. They speak to gods, interpret signs, perform rituals that ensure good harvests and victory in war. Priest kings emerge, combining spiritual power with political authority, building temples that dwarf all other structures, demanding tribute, commanding armies. We're in Mesopotamia, 6,000 years ago, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the cradle of civilization. Here, humans build the first true cities, Uruk, Ur, Eridu, cities with walls, with palaces, with thousands of inhabitants. Here, they invent something that will change everything more profoundly than fire or agriculture, something that will allow knowledge to survive beyond individual lifetimes. Writing. At first it's simple, marks on clay tablets, counting grain, recording transactions, tracking debts, practical purposes only. But the implications are staggering. For the first time, ideas can be preserved perfectly, transmitted across vast distances, passed to future generations without distortion. Knowledge no longer depends on human memory, on oral tradition, on stories told around fires. Now, laws can be written down, made permanent, applied consistently. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the first complete legal systems, carved in stone for all to see. Now, history can be recorded, events documented, kings immortalized, the deeds of the mighty preserved forever. Now, science becomes possible, observations accumulated, patterns recognized, mathematics developed, astronomy practiced. The priests of Babylon watch the stars, track their movements, predict eclipses, measure time, create calendars. They divide the day into hours, the hour into minutes, the circle into 360 degrees, systems we still use today. In Egypt, along the Nile, another great civilization rises, built on the annual flooding of the river, on the rich soil it deposits, on the abundance it creates. The Egyptians master engineering on a scale never seen before. They move stones weighing tons, fit them together perfectly, build monuments designed to last forever. The pyramids, tombs for god-kings, built by tens of thousands of workers over decades, precisely aligned with celestial bodies, achievements that still inspire awe today. But how? How do they move such massive stones? How do they achieve such precision? How do they organize such massive labor forces? Through hierarchy, through specialization, through the accumulation of knowledge passed from master to apprentice, through generations of incremental improvement. Egyptian medicine advances beyond superstition. Physicians perform surgery, set broken bones, understand anatomy from mummification, prescribe herbal remedies that actually work. Egyptian mathematics solves practical problems, surveying fields after floods, calculating volumes for granaries, designing stable structures. Meanwhile, in the Indus Valley, yet another civilization flourishes, with cities as large as those in Mesopotamia, with sophisticated urban planning, with standardized weights and measures. Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, cities with grid patterns, with sophisticated drainage systems, with public baths, with granaries, with evidence of trade networks extending thousands of kilometers. They develop a writing system no one can read today. Lost, forgotten. The civilization collapses mysteriously. Climate change, perhaps. Environmental degradation. We don't know. In China, along the Yellow River, civilization develops independently, with its own writing system, its own technologies, its own philosophies. Chinese writing is different from all others. Not alphabetic, not syllabic, logographic. Each symbol represents a concept, thousands of characters to learn, but also timeless, readable across dialects, across centuries. Bronze working reaches extraordinary sophistication in China. Vessels for ritual purposes, inscribed with prayers and dedications, technically perfect, artistically stunning. Silk production begins, a closely guarded secret for thousands of years. Thread from moth caterpillars woven into fabric finer than anything else available, worth its weight in gold. Trade connects these early civilizations. Merchants travel vast distances. Caravans cross deserts. Ships sail coastlines. Ideas and technologies spread. The Phoenicians, master sailors from the Mediterranean coast, create colonies across the sea, establish trade networks, spread their alphabet, the ancestor of most writing systems used today. 26 letters, simple, efficient, anyone can learn it, not just specialized scribes. This democratizes literacy eventually, makes knowledge accessible. Metals transform human society. Copper first, soft but useful, then bronze, copper mixed with tin, harder, better for tools and weapons. The Bronze Age brings new possibilities, better plows that dig deeper, weapons that don't break easily, armor that protects effectively, but bronze requires tin. Tin is rare, found in only certain places. This creates trade, competition, conflict over resources. Kingdoms rise and fall based on access to tin. Wars are fought for control of trade routes. Empires expand to secure resources. Then, around 1200 BCE, everything changes again. The Bronze Age collapses, suddenly, mysteriously, catastrophically. Cities burn, trade networks fail, writing disappears in some regions, civilization retreats, population crashes. The causes remain debated. Invasions by sea peoples, climate change, earthquake storms, systemic failure of interconnected societies. Probably all of these combined. The Dark Age follows, centuries of decline, knowledge lost, technologies forgotten. People return to simpler ways, smaller communities, but from this collapse, something new emerges. Iron. Iron is everywhere, in every region. Every culture can access it. No trade routes needed, no monopolies possible. Iron tools are harder than bronze, cheaper to produce, more widely available. They democratize technology, put powerful tools in everyone's hands. The Iron Age brings a revolution. Better weapons, better ploughs, better axes. Forests fall. New lands open for cultivation. Populations expand again. New powers rise. The Assyrians with their iron chariots and siege weapons. The Persians with their vast empire stretching from Egypt to India. The Greeks with their city-states and philosophical innovations. Greece gives the world democracy, the idea that citizens can govern themselves, that free men can debate and vote, that tyranny can be opposed. Greek philosophy questions everything. What is justice? What is truth? What is the good life? Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, foundations of Western thought. Greek mathematics becomes abstract, pure, Euclidean geometry, proofs and theorems, knowledge for its own sake, not just practical applications. Greek theatre explores human nature, tragedy and comedy, plays that still resonate, still performed, still relevant. Greek art celebrates the human form, statues so realistic they seem alive, architecture of perfect proportions, beauty as an ideal. But Greece is fragmented. City-states compete, fight each other, waste their strength in endless conflicts, until Alexander, the Macedonian king who conquers the known world by age 30, who spreads Greek culture across 3 continents, who creates the Hellenistic world. His empire fragments after his death, but his cultural legacy persists. Greek becomes the language of learning, of trade, of diplomacy across vast regions. In Rome, a different kind of power emerges, not based on culture or philosophy, based on organization, on law, on military discipline, on engineering. Rome builds roads that last millennia, aqueducts that bring water to cities, concrete that hardens underwater, infrastructure that enables empire. Roman law develops principles that survive today, innocent until proven guilty, the right to face accusers, written laws applied equally to all citizens. Rome conquers the Mediterranean world, not through cultural superiority, through ruthless efficiency, through legions that never break, through a willingness to absorb and adapt the best from conquered peoples. Romans aren't great inventors, but they're great implementers. They take Greek philosophy, Egyptian engineering, Carthaginian naval tactics, Persian administration, combine them, scale them up. At its height, Rome rules 60 million people, 1/4 of Earth's population, from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Mesopotamia. Roman peace, Pax Romana. 2 centuries of relative stability, of flourishing trade, of cultural exchange, of unprecedented prosperity. But Rome too will fall, overextended, corrupted, invaded by peoples migrating from the north and east, pushed by climate change, by the same forces that have driven human migration always. Meanwhile, in the Americas, civilizations develop in complete isolation from the Old World. The Olmecs, the Maya, the Zapotecs, building cities, developing writing, creating art, inventing mathematics. The Maya calendar is more accurate than the Roman one. Their astronomy rivals that of any Old World civilization. Their pyramids rival Egypt's in scale. Mayan mathematics invents zero independently, understands place value, calculates vast numbers, all without any contact with Old World mathematicians. In North America, complex societies emerge. Mound builders create earthworks of enormous scale. Cahokia rivals medieval London in population. Trade networks span the continent. But these societies face their own challenges: environmental pressures, political instabilities, the same forces that shape all human societies. Human nature doesn't change with civilization. The same drives that pushed our ancestors to explore, to compete, to cooperate, to create, still operate. We still want security, status, belonging, meaning, purpose. The same things our Stone Age ancestors wanted. Civilization just gives us new ways to pursue these ancient goals. New tools, new organizations, new complexities, but also new problems. Inequality emerges. Slavery becomes widespread. War becomes more organized, more deadly, more devastating. The agricultural surplus that enables civilization also enables exploitation. Some control resources, force others to work, build monuments to their own glory. Yet progress continues, not smoothly, not inevitably, but persistently. Each generation building on what came before, adding innovations, solving problems, creating new possibilities. Writing preserves knowledge, cities concentrate talent, trade spreads innovations, competition drives improvement, cooperation achieves what individuals cannot. The human story accelerates. Changes that took thousands of years in the Stone Age happen in centuries now, then decades, then years. Technologies build on technologies. Ideas combine to create new ideas. The pace of change increases, compounds, multiplies. We're no longer just surviving nature. We're reshaping it, building artificial environments, creating landscapes, domesticating more species, redirecting rivers. We're no longer just responding to challenges, we're creating them and solving them, then creating new ones, an endless cycle of problems and solutions. This is civilization. This is what we built, what we became, what we chose, for better and worse, with all its glories and horrors, its achievements and atrocities, its wisdom and folly, but always moving forward, always changing, always reaching for something more, something beyond what is, toward what could be. That's the human gift, the human curse, the human destiny, to never be satisfied, to never stop striving, to never accept limits. Our ancestors who stood up on the savannah started something that couldn't be stopped, something that gained momentum with each generation. From stone tools to bronze weapons to iron ploughs to written laws to mathematical proofs to engineered aqueducts to ocean-spanning empires, each step enabling the next, each achievement creating new possibilities, each generation standing on the shoulders of all who came before. The rise continues, the story unfolds, the future beckons. What will we build next? What will we become? What limits will we transcend? The answer lies ahead, in the next chapter, in the next age, in the next revolution of human achievement. When Rome falls in the west, darkness doesn't descend everywhere. Knowledge doesn't vanish completely. It relocates, transforms, adapts. In Constantinople, the Eastern Roman Empire survives another 1,000 years, preserving classical learning, maintaining advanced administration, conducting sophisticated diplomacy. Byzantine scholars copy ancient texts, preserve them, pass them forward through centuries. Without them, much of classical knowledge would be lost forever. In the Islamic world, a golden age begins. While Europe fragments, Islamic civilization flourishes. Baghdad becomes the intellectual center of the world. Islamic scholars translate Greek philosophy, Indian mathematics, Persian astronomy, combine them, advance them, create something new. They invent algebra. The word itself comes from Arabic, al-jaba, the reunion of broken parts, mathematics that can solve problems geometry cannot. They preserve Aristotle when Europe forgets him, study medicine systematically, understand optics, map the stars with unprecedented accuracy. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad attracts scholars from everywhere. Different religions, different languages, different traditions, all welcomed, all contributing. Islamic architecture reaches extraordinary heights. The dome, the arch, the minaret, buildings designed to inspire, to elevate the spirit, to reflect divine order. Trade flourishes under Islamic rule, from Spain to Indonesia. Merchants carry goods, ideas travel with them, technologies spread, cultures mix. But Europe isn't dormant, it's transforming, slowly, painfully, creating something unprecedented. Feudalism emerges, a new kind of social organization, lords and vassals, mutual obligations, loyalty in exchange for protection, land in exchange for service. It's not efficient, it's not centralized, but it's stable, it endures, it allows recovery from Rome's collapse. The Catholic Church becomes the only institution spanning all of Europe, the only source of learning, the only preserver of literacy. Monasteries become islands of knowledge. Monks copy manuscripts, preserve classical texts, maintain libraries, keep learning alive through dark centuries. Universities emerge, Bologna, Paris, Oxford, places where students can study, debate, learn, independent from political authority, protected by the church. Medieval philosophy grapples with reconciling faith and reason. Thomas Aquinas attempts to synthesize Aristotle with Christianity, creating frameworks that still influence thought today. Gothic cathedrals rise, soaring higher than anything built since Rome, using engineering innovations, flying buttresses, pointed arches, stained glass that teaches stories to illiterate masses. These buildings take generations to complete. Entire communities dedicating resources, labour, skill, creating monuments that still inspire awe centuries later. Meanwhile, in China, innovation continues. Gunpowder, the compass, printing with movable type, paper money, technologies that will transform the world. Chinese ships sail to Africa, to the Middle East, massive treasure fleets, hundreds of ships, thousands of men, displaying the power of the Ming dynasty. Then, mysteriously, China turns inward, stops the voyages, burns the ships, focuses on internal stability, misses the age of exploration. Europe, fractured and competitive, moves in the opposite direction. Italian city-states develop banking, double-entry bookkeeping, letters of credit, the infrastructure of capitalism. The Black Death arrives, kills 1/3 of Europe's population, the worst pandemic in human history. Society convulses, labour becomes scarce, power shifts, survivors demand higher wages, better conditions, authority is questioned, the old order cracks, change accelerates. Then the Renaissance, a rebirth of classical learning, rediscovery of ancient texts, new appreciation for human potential, for individual achievement. Artists like Leonardo and Michelangelo create masterpieces that still define artistic excellence, combining technical skill with profound understanding of human nature. Leonardo studies anatomy, designs machines, explores mathematics, embodies the Renaissance ideal, knowledge across disciplines, art informed by science, science inspired by art. Printing with movable type arrives in Europe, Gutenberg's press. Suddenly, Books can be produced quickly, cheaply. Ideas spread faster than ever before. The Bible in vernacular languages, not just Latin. Common people can read scripture themselves, question interpretations, challenge authority. The Protestant Reformation follows. Martin Luther. Religious authority fractured. Individual conscience emphasized. Europe divided. Wars of religion, but also plurality. Tolerance eventually. Competing ideas. The age of exploration begins. Portuguese sailors push down the African coast. Seeking routes to Asian spices, Columbus sails west, finds a new world instead. Suddenly, the world explodes in size. 2 entire continents unknown to Europe. Civilizations never contacted. Resources beyond imagination. The Columbian Exchange transforms everything. Crops from the Americas, potatoes, corn, tomatoes, chocolate. Feed population explosions in Europe and Asia. Diseases from Europe, smallpox, measles, typhus, devastate American populations. Up to 90% mortality in some areas. Civilizations collapse. Empires fall. It's the greatest catastrophe in human history for indigenous peoples, but also the moment when human populations truly become global, connected, interdependent. Silver from American mines floods into Europe, into China, creates the first truly global economy. Ships circle the world. Trade becomes planetary. The scientific revolution follows the Renaissance. A new way of understanding nature, not through ancient authority, through observation, experiment, mathematics. Galileo points a telescope at the sky, sees moons orbiting Jupiter, realizes Earth isn't the center of everything. The universe is vast, governed by natural laws, understandable through reason. Newton discovers universal gravitation. The same force that makes apples fall governs the motion of planets. Mathematics describes reality, predicts future, explains past. The scientific method emerges: hypothesis, experiment, analysis, peer review, knowledge building systematically, self-correcting, accelerating. Enlightenment thinkers apply reason to society, to government, to human nature, natural rights, social contract, separation of powers, ideas that will reshape politics. The American Revolution puts these ideas into practice. Government by consent, rights protected, authority limited, democracy on a scale never attempted before. The French Revolution follows, more radical, more violent, more transformative. The old order swept away, equality proclaimed, though the path is bloody, chaotic. But ideas released can't be recalled. Human equality, natural rights, democratic governance, these spread, slowly, unevenly, but persistently. Meanwhile, another revolution begins, quieter, more profound, more lasting, the Industrial Revolution. In Britain, coal and steam power transform production. Machines do work humans and animals can't. Factories concentrate workers, output multiplies, costs plummet, textiles first. One person with a power loom produces what hundreds did by hand. Then iron production, then transportation, steamships, railways. The world shrinks. What took months now takes weeks, then days. Distance becomes less meaningful. Markets integrate. Resources flow globally. Cities explode in size. Millions living in close proximity. Unprecedented concentrations of humanity. New problems, sanitation, crime, poverty, disease, but also unprecedented opportunities, social mobility, education, culture, innovation, the energy of millions pursuing their own goals, creating, competing, cooperating, child labour, brutal working conditions, exploitation, the dark side of industrialization, human costs of rapid change. Eventually reforms come, Workers organize, laws pass, conditions improve slowly, science continues advancing. Chemistry, biology, medicine, understanding matter, understanding life, understanding disease, germ theory, vaccination, antiseptics. Life expectancy begins to rise dramatically. Child mortality falls, population explodes. Darwin discovers evolution by natural selection, life shaped by competition, by adaptation, by survival of those best fitted, no divine plan required, just time and variation and selection. The implications are profound, controversial, still debated, but the evidence becomes overwhelming. Humanity's place in nature clarified. We're part of the natural world, product of the same forces that shaped all life. Maxwell unifies electricity and magnetism, shows light is electromagnetic radiation, opens doors to radio, to telecommunications, to the electronic age. The 19th century ends with extraordinary optimism, science explaining everything, technology solving all problems, progress inevitable, the future bright. Then, the 20th century shatters that optimism. World War I, industrial warfare, machine guns, poison gas, millions dead. For what? Nothing resolved. Just slaughter. The war to end all wars. But it doesn't. 20 years later, an even worse conflict. World War II. 60 million dead. Holocaust. Atomic bombs. Total war. Humanity gains the power to destroy itself. Nuclear weapons. Enough to end civilization. To poison the planet. For the first time, extinction is possible. By our own hands. But also, paradoxically, an age of unprecedented peace follows. Nuclear weapons too terrible to use, mutual assured destruction, the long peace, proxy wars, but no direct conflict between major powers. The Cold War divides the world. Capitalism versus communism, democracy versus authoritarianism, competition, space race, arms race, ideological warfare. Humans leave Earth, Gagarin orbits, Armstrong walks on the moon. We're no longer bound to our planet. The cosmos opens, computers emerge, first room-sized, then desk-sized, then portable, then in every pocket. Information technology transforms everything. The internet connects humanity. Instantly, globally, knowledge at fingertips, communication barrier-free, distance irrelevant. The world truly becomes one. Medicine conquers diseases that killed billions. Smallpox eradicated. Polio nearly gone. HIV becomes manageable. Gene therapy promises cures for genetic diseases. Life expectancy doubles in a century. In wealthy nations, average lifespan reaches 80 years, longer than any time in history. Childhood survival the norm, not the exception. Population explodes. 1 billion in 1800, 2 billion by 1930, 7 billion by 2000, 8 billion today. Can Earth support this many? Can we feed everyone? Can we avoid environmental collapse? Questions without clear answers. We've reshaped the planet, changed the atmosphere, driven countless species to extinction, warmed the climate, created the Anthropocene, the age of humans, the age where human activity dominates Earth's systems. The future is uncertain, challenges mount, climate change, resource depletion, inequality, conflict, pandemic disease, but also opportunities, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, space colonization, possibilities our ancestors couldn't imagine. We stand at a threshold. The choices we make now will determine humanity's future. Will we destroy ourselves or transcend our limits? Will we retreat or continue rising? The same species that stood up on the African savanna now reaches for the stars. The same curiosity that led to stone tools now explores quantum mechanics. The The same cooperation that enabled big game hunts now builds international institutions. We're still the same species, the same drives, the same needs, the same capacity for good and evil, for wisdom and folly, for creation and destruction. But we've learned, accumulated knowledge, built on what came before, each generation standing on the shoulders of giants. The rise continues, not smoothly, not inevitably, but persistently, through setbacks and catastrophes, through dark ages and renaissances, through falls and recoveries, because that's what Homo sapiens does. We persist, we adapt, we overcome, we create, we dream, we reach beyond what is toward what could be. Our story isn't finished, it's still being written, by you, by everyone alive today, by choices made, actions taken, dreams pursued. What will the next chapter hold? What will we achieve? What will we become? The answer depends on us, on what we choose, what we value, what we're willing to fight for. The rise of Homo sapiens continues, right now, in this moment, through every person striving, creating, building, imagining a better future. That's our inheritance, that's our responsibility, that's our destiny. To carry forward the story, to add our chapter, to pass the torch to those who follow. The journey continues, the adventure persists, the rise goes on, today, right now, this moment. 8 billion humans live on Earth, more than at any time in history, more than our ancestors could have imagined possible. We occupy every continent except Antarctica. We've adapted to every climate, from Arctic ice to tropical rainforests, from mountains to deserts, from islands to sprawling megacities. We've built a civilization of staggering complexity, cities with tens of millions of people, supply chains, spanning continents, technologies that seem like magic, communication instantaneous across the globe. A person in Tokyo can video call someone in New York, instantly, clearly, for free, share ideas, collaborate on projects, build relationships across vast distances. Information that once took lifetimes to gather sites in devices we carry in our pockets. The accumulated knowledge of our entire species, accessible anywhere, anytime, to anyone with connection. We've sequenced the human genome, 3 billion base pairs as DNA, the instruction manual that built us. Now we can read it, edit it, potentially cure genetic diseases. We've built machines that think, artificial intelligence that can beat world champions at chess and go, that can diagnose diseases, drive cars, write poetry, compose music. We've split the atom, harnessed nuclear energy, created power that can light cities or destroy them. The same knowledge cuts both ways. Always. We've sent robots to Mars, landed probes on comets, photographed planets around distant stars, detected gravitational waves from colliding black holes. The universe reveals its secrets to our instruments. We've created art that moves millions, music that transcends language, stories that capture universal truths, films that transport us to other worlds, literature that explores the depths of human experience. We've built systems of government that protect individual rights, where citizens choose their leaders, where laws apply equally, where freedom is valued. Imperfect systems, but unprecedented in history. We've established international institutions meant to prevent wars, to promote cooperation, to protect human rights, to coordinate responses to global challenges, fragile institutions, but existing nonetheless. We've made incredible medical advances, transplanted organs, replaced hearts, given sight to the blind, hearing to the deaf, mobility to the paralyzed, pushed the boundaries of what's possible. We've connected the world through trade. Products from every nation available everywhere. Coffee from Ethiopia and Sweden, electronics from China and Brazil, cars from Germany and Australia. Interdependence unprecedented. We've created vast wealth, lifted billions from poverty in recent decades. More people living comfortable lives than ever before. More access to education, healthcare, opportunity. But we've also created vast problems. Climate change threatens our future. Carbon dioxide levels higher than any time in human history. Temperatures rising, ice caps melting, weather patterns shifting. We've polluted oceans with plastic, poisoned rivers with chemicals, filled the air with smog, degraded soils through intensive agriculture, destroyed habitats, driven species extinct at rates not seen since the dinosaurs died. We've created weapons that could end civilization, not just nuclear bombs, biological weapons, chemical weapons, autonomous weapons, tools of destruction that terrify their creators. We've built systems of inequality, where some live in luxury while others starve, where accidents of birth determine life chances, where opportunities are not equally distributed, where injustice persists. We've struggled with our own nature. The same tribalism that helped our ancestors survive now divides us. Us versus them. My group against yours, my nation, my religion, my ideology. We've created technologies faster than we've developed wisdom to use them. Social media that connects but also divides. Algorithms that amplify outrage. Echo chambers that reinforce biases. Truth becomes difficult to discern. We've faced pandemics that spread globally in weeks. COVID-19 shut down the world. Millions died. Economies crashed. Revealed our vulnerabilities, but also our resilience, our ability to develop vaccines in record time. We face challenges our ancestors never imagined, but we also have capabilities they couldn't dream of. Tools, knowledge, resources, the ability to coordinate globally, to share solutions, to learn from each other. The question isn't whether we have problems. We do. Enormous ones. The question is whether we can solve them, whether we'll choose to, whether we'll cooperate enough, act quickly enough, think clearly enough. Because the same species that created these problems has the capacity to solve them. The same intelligence that split the atom can harness clean energy. The same creativity that built weapons can build solutions. Consider what we've accomplished in just one lifetime. Someone born in 1920 has seen humanity go from biplanes to space stations, from telegrams to smartphones, from slide rules to supercomputers. They've seen life expectancy increase by decades, seen diseases conquered, seen living standards rise globally, seen connections form across all boundaries, changes that previous generations took centuries to achieve. The pace accelerates. Technologies that took decades to develop now emerge in years. Changes that affected millions now touch billions. What took generations to spread now goes viral in days. We stand at an inflection point. Multiple crises converge. Climate, resources, population, technology, governance, all demanding attention simultaneously, all interconnected, all urgent. Some look at this and see catastrophe inevitable, collapse coming, the end of civilization, perhaps the end of our species. They point to historical precedents. Rome fell, Maya collapsed, Easter Island destroyed itself. Others see opportunity, challenges to overcome, problems to solve, the next great leap forward. They point to human resilience, our capacity for innovation, our ability to cooperate when necessary. Both might be right. The future isn't determined, It depends on choices, actions, decisions made by billions of individuals, by leaders, by communities, by nations, by humanity collectively. We've reached the point where our fate is truly in our own hands. We're no longer just responding to nature. We're shaping the planet. We're influencing climate. We're determining which species survive. We're gods now. But are we wise gods? The technologies emerging promise transformation, artificial intelligence that could solve problems beyond human capability, or displace human workers entirely, or make decisions we don't understand. Power without wisdom is dangerous. Genetic engineering that could eliminate disease, enhance human capabilities, extend lifespan dramatically, or create inequality unimaginable, or unleash consequences unforeseen, playing with life itself, quantum computing that could crack any code, simulate molecules perfectly, solve problems currently impossible, or break all security, or concentrate power dangerously. Knowledge without ethics is perilous. Space travel that could make us multiplanetary, ensure survival beyond Earth, access resources unlimited, or create new conflicts, or leave most behind. Expansion without justice perpetuates problems. Renewable energy that could power civilization cleanly, end fossil fuel dependence, reverse climate change, or come too late, or prove insufficient, or distribute unevenly. Technology alone doesn't guarantee solutions. We need more than technology. We need wisdom, cooperation, ethics, long-term thinking, willingness to change, capacity to imagine better futures, courage to pursue them. We need to remember what made us successful, what allowed us to rise above all other species, not strength, not speed, not individual intelligence, cooperation, sharing knowledge, building on what came before, working together toward common goals. That's what got us here. From African savanna to global civilization, from stone tools to space stations, from cave paintings to internet, from small bands to billions connected. Our ancestors survived ice ages through cooperation, hunted mammoths together, shared food during famines, taught skills to the next generation, built cultures that preserved knowledge, created civilizations that accumulated learning. We face challenges they never imagined, but we have advantages they couldn't dream of. We can communicate instantly globally, share solutions immediately, coordinate actions across continents, learn from everyone everywhere. We have 8 billion minds working on problems, billions with education, access to information, ability to contribute, potential to innovate, diverse perspectives, different approaches, creativity unlimited. We have institutions spanning the world, universities researching, companies innovating, governments coordinating, NGOs advocating, citizens organizing, all pieces of a complex system, capable of extraordinary things when aligned. We have examples from history, times we've overcome, crises we've survived, challenges we've met. The Black Death didn't end Europe. World wars didn't destroy civilization. The Cold War didn't go nuclear. We've been to the brink before. We've stepped back. But we've also failed. Let genocides happen. Allowed famines when food existed. Started unnecessary wars. Made preventable mistakes. Repeated known errors. Ignored clear warnings. We're capable of both wisdom and folly. The future isn't written. It's being written. Now, by actions taken today, choices made this moment, by what we prioritize, what we value, what we're willing to fight for, what we're willing to sacrifice, if we choose cooperation over conflict, if we choose sustainability over short-term gain, if we choose wisdom over convenience, if we choose long-term survival over immediate profit, then we have a chance. If we can extend our circle of moral concern, include all humans, consider future generations, respect other species, value the planet itself, then we can build something lasting. If we can overcome our tribal instincts, see humanity as one family, recognize our common fate, accept our interdependence, then we can face challenges collectively. If we can match our technological power with ethical wisdom, make decisions that consider consequences, think systemically, act responsibly, then we can wield our capabilities safely. But this requires change, personal change, social change, political change, economic change, cultural change. Everything must evolve, adapt to new realities, new challenges, new possibilities. Change is hard, uncomfortable, frightening. It requires letting go of familiar ways, accepting uncertainty, taking risks, trusting others. But stasis is impossible. The world keeps changing. We must change with it, or be overwhelmed. Our ancestors changed constantly, adapted endlessly. That's why they survived. That's why we exist. We carry their genes, their legacy, their capacity for adaptation, their resilience, their creativity. They stood up when staying down was safer. They controlled fire when it was terrifying. They crossed oceans when land was comfortable. They planted seeds when hunting worked. They built cities when villages sufficed. They reached for the stars when Earth was enough. We're them. Same species, same potential, same capacity for courage, for imagination, for perseverance, for hope. What they began, we continue. What they started, we advance. What they dreamed, we achieve. Then dream bigger. This is the human story. Not a story of perfection, a story of persistence, not a story of inevitable progress, a story of choosing to try, to build, to improve, to reach higher. We've risen from nothing to dominate this planet. We've gone from prey to apex predator, from scavengers to creators, from survivors to architects of our own fate. We've made mistakes, terrible ones. We've caused suffering, destroyed beauty, wasted opportunities, but we've also created magnificence, achieved wonders, overcome impossibilities. The question now, the question facing this generation, this moment in human history, is whether we rise again, whether we overcome current challenges, whether we prove worthy of our ancestors' struggles, whether we're wise enough to use our power responsibly, creative enough to solve novel problems, courageous enough to make necessary changes, cooperative enough to act collectively, whether we choose survival over comfort, sustainability over growth, wisdom over convenience, long-term thinking over short-term gain. The answer isn't certain. The outcome isn't guaranteed. The future isn't determined. It's up to us. All of us. Everyone alive today. Everyone making choices, taking actions, building tomorrow. This is our moment, our test, our opportunity, our responsibility to prove that Homo Sapiens, the wise man, the thinking man, lives up to his name, to show that the rise continues, that we haven't peaked, that the best is yet to come, that the story goes on. Our ancestors gave us this world, this civilization, this knowledge, this opportunity. We owe them. We owe future generations. We owe ourselves to make good choices, to act wisely, to build something lasting. The rise of Homo sapiens isn't finished. It's ongoing, happening now, through you, through your choices, your actions, your voice, your life. You're part of the story, part of the journey, part of the rise. What you do matters. What you choose affects the outcome. What you build shapes the future. This is humanity's moment. challenging, dangerous, uncertain, but also full of possibility, potential, promise, if we choose well, if we act together, if we think clearly. The same forces that drove our ancestors, curiosity, creativity, courage, cooperation, still exist, still motivate, still inspire, still drive us forward. The rise continues, the story unfolds, the future awaits. What happens next? That's up to us, all of us, together. This is what made Homo sapiens rise above all species, not what we were, what we chose to become, not our nature, our choices, not our limits, our refusal to accept them. We rose because we tried, because we persisted, because we cooperated, because we dreamed, because we believed better was possible, because we made it so. The question now is simple. Will we continue? Will we rise again? Will we meet this moment? The answer is being written, right now, in actions taken, choices made, lives lived, stories told, futures imagined, possibilities pursued. The rise of Homo sapiens continues. If we choose, if we try, if we cooperate, if we persist, if we dream, if we act. The story isn't over, it's just beginning. The best chapters may still lie ahead if we write them together. This is our inheritance, our challenge, our opportunity, our destiny to carry the story forward, to rise again, to become what we can be. The journey continues for all of us, for humanity, for life itself, reaching toward possibilities unknown, toward futures unimagined, toward heights yet unclimbed. The rise goes on, the adventure persists, the story lives through us, because of us, for those who follow. This is humanity. This is our story. This is our rise, past, present, future, all connected, all one journey, all one species, all one family, all reaching for the same stars. What made Homo sapiens rise above all species? This, right here, right now. You, us, everyone, choosing to continue, choosing to try, choosing to rise. The answer was never about the past. It's always been about the future, about what we'll do next, who we'll become, where we'll go, what we'll achieve. The rise continues because we continue, because we choose to, because we must, because we can, because we are Homo sapiens, and rising is what we do.